Li Mei's Sword of Destiny. Chapter 1438. However, the most dazzling ones were none other than those from the Snowdrift Sage Hall. The Snowdrift Sage Hall was the controller of this city. Cultivators from the Snowdrift Sage Hall all had extraordinary statuses. This time, for City Lord Lu's birthday celebration, there were actually so many disciples from the Snowdrift Sage Hall who came to offer their congratulations. Only the City Lord Manor was able to do this. Everyone couldn't help but to sigh. Although the City Lord Manor was merely a vassal power of the Snowdrift Sage Hall, as generations passed, they had already integrated into the Snowdrift Sage Hall. Many of their disciples were cultivating in the Snowdrift Sage Hall, or perhaps they had connections with the Snowdrift Sage Hall. City Lord Lu's face was glowing with health, and he was in high spirits. He sat in the center of the main seat. Beside him sat his daughter Lu Yanxue. As for his other children, their seats were slightly further away. Beside Lu Yanxue sat Lu Zhanfei's father. Below them, Lu Zhanfei and Mo Xiaoxiao were seated. These people belonged to the core bloodline of the Lu clan, controlling the authority of the Lu clan. Although Lu Yao was also a direct descendant, she had to refer to City Lord Lu as great-grandpa. He was the uncle of her father, Lu Zhan. In terms of relationship, Lu Yanxue was also Lu Yao's aunt. It was just that they weren't blood-related, hence, their relationship was naturally much more distant. This was especially so for Lu Yanxue's nephew Lu Zhanfei, whose talent was extremely good. In addition, Lu Yanxue and Lu Yao's aunt both entered the Snowdrift Sage Hall. The two of them climbed up the ranks, regardless of whether they were in the clan or in the Snowdrift Sage Hall, they were always competitors. But after that, Lu Yanxue gradually surpassed them. Right now, their statuses were no longer the same as before. The Wu clan is here to offer our congratulations to City Lord Lu. A clear voice rang out. After that, a group of experts was led over. The person in the lead had a majestic aura and was clearly an Empyrean expert. This man was none other than the clan leader of the Wu clan, Wu Bufan. Haha, old fellow, you actually came personally. Quickly, please take a seat. City Lord Lu stood up and laughed. The clan leader of the Wu clan actually came personally. As expected of City Lord Lu, his authority is truly great. Yeah, the Wu clan leader's cultivation base is extremely terrifying. It's said that he has already reached the peak of the mid-stage of the Immortal King realm. In this city, other than the City Lord Manor, the Wu clan is the strongest. Everyone sighed in admiration. Also, there was a junior from the Wu clan who was extremely dazzling. He managed to enter the tutelage of an immortal emperor, and was accepted as a personal disciple. Wu Tianjiao is here too. The gazes of the crowd turned to the young man beside the Wu clan leader, Wu Bufan. This person had a handsome countenance and a pair of eyes that were brimming with vigor. He was an extraordinary expert. His original name was Heaven's Chosen, and everyone had high hopes for him. He was indeed a true Heaven's Chosen. Immortal King Yanxue is here too. I've long heard of Immortal King Yanxue's great name. It's my pleasure to meet you today. Wu Bufan cupped his fists at Lu Yanxue. Even as the Wu family's family head, he was extremely courteous to Lu Yanxue. After all, Lu Yanxue's status was higher than him, the Wu family's family head. If she wasn't the daughter of City Lord Lu, the City Lord's status would still be inferior to Lu Yanxue's. Wu Bufan was naturally aware of this. Lu Yanxue nodded lightly. She glanced at Wu Tianjiao as a bright light flashed in her eyes. It was like her interest in Wu Bufan was inferior compared to Wu Tianjiao. Wu Tianjiao has broken through to the Immortal King realm? Lu Yanxue asked. Senior's eyes are wise. Tianjiao is untalented, but he has indeed broken through to the Immortal King realm. Wu Tianjiao bowed politely. Not bad, as expected of someone who can cultivate by the side of an immortal emperor. His future is boundless. Lu Yanxue praised. City Lord Lu also laughed. Noble nephew Tianjiao is truly extraordinary. Brother Wu, quickly come and have a seat. Wu Bufan nodded. He wasn't polite at all and walked towards the host's seat, sitting together with Wu Tianjiao. Today he brought Wu Tianjiao here because he had a purpose. He hoped that he could form a connection with the Snowdrift Sage Hall just like the City Lord Manor. And the best way to form a connection was undoubtedly through marriage. City Lord Lu's birthday celebration was a good opportunity. Everyone, please feel free to take a seat. There's no need to be so polite. City Lord Lu waved his hands at the crowd. The banquet was already prepared and the various experts all presented their congratulatory gifts. Since they came here, they naturally had to show their sincerity and form a good relationship with the City Lord Manor. The atmosphere of the banquet was extremely lively. At this moment, Lu Yao and Qin Wentian also arrived. When they saw the lively atmosphere, they felt somewhat out of place. Father. Lu Yao glanced at Lu Zhan and the others who were seated below the host's seat. After that, she walked over. Take a seat. Lu Zhan spoke in a low voice. However, many of the youths from his faction coldly glanced at Lu Yao and Qin Wentian, clearly not welcoming them. Lu Yao's actions would cause them to feel awkward. They didn't dare to directly offend Chu Qingyi, hence, they could only vent their anger on Lu Yao and Qin Wentian, coldly staring at the two of them. Chu Qingyi, who was beside Qin Wentian, glanced in the direction of Lu Yanxue, only to see Lu Yanxue shifting her gaze away in disdain. This caused Chu Qingyi's countenance to turn unsightly, but she didn't pay her respects. As for Mo Xiaoxiao, who was beside Lu Yanxue, she laughed. What's wrong, junior sister Qingyi? Are you not going to pay your respects to Uncle Master? Chu Qingyi's gaze froze. After that, she bowed to Lu Yanxue. Chu Qingyi pays her respects to Uncle Master. Lu Yanxue didn't even glance over, directly ignoring Chu Qingyi. This caused Chu Qingyi to feel extremely embarrassed while Mo Xiaoxiao giggled. Wu Bufan and Wu Tianjiao from the Wu clan stared at this scene with interest. Seems like the competition in the Snowdrift Sage Hall is extremely intense. Wu Tianjiao was more focused on the beauty of Chu Qingyi. Although Mo Xiaoxiao beside him was also extremely beautiful, but when Chu Qingyi entered the banquet, the most beautiful person in the crowd was none other than her. Take a seat, Chu Qingyi spoke to Qin Wentian, who was beside her when she saw Lu Yanxue ignoring her. Qin Wentian nodded lightly. Just when he wanted to sit down, a cold voice rang out. Who allowed you to sit? Qin Wentian's countenance stiffened. He then saw a middle-aged man not far away staring at him with a cold expression. You came to my Lu clan and consumed the grand recovery pill of our Lu clan. Lu Yao served you very well and now you actually want to sit down at the banquet? Seems like you are too complacent and think that everything is natural. Uncle. Lu Yao's countenance stiffened as she stared at the person who spoke. What's wrong, Lu Yao? Did I say something wrong? How precious is the grand recovery pill? You actually gave it away just like that? Even if the clan lord doesn't punish you, we will still punish you. That middle-aged man coldly spoke, as though he was already prepared to show his attitude towards the clan lord and Lu Yanxue. I've already said it before. I was the one who asked Lu Yao for the grand recovery pill. Also, I will definitely repay this favor. Chu Qingyi coldly stared at the person who spoke, not polite at all. Holy Maiden Qingyi. There's no need to push the blame onto yourself. That person calmly spoke. He didn't dare to offend Chu Qingyi too much, but he also needed to give Lu Yanxue and the others an explanation. Qin Wentian stood there and calmly stared at that person. Ever since I consumed the grand recovery pill, I can't even step out of the Lu clan's main gate. Now I'm not even allowed to sit at the banquet. What sort of person do you all think I Qin am? Humph, how would you know how precious the grand recovery pill is? That middle-aged man coldly snorted. So what about it? Do you want me to use my life to pay for it? Qin Wentian counter-asked. How can your lowly life be compared to the grand recovery pill? Everything will be decided by the clan lord. The middle-aged man clasped his hands to City Lord Lu, indicating his attitude. No matter what the clan lord said, he would obey. He wouldn't care about the fact that Lu Yao was someone from his bloodline. Qingyi is the holy maiden of the Snowdrift Sage Hall. Yanxue, what do you think of this? City Lord Lu stared at Lu Yanxue as he asked. Lu Yanxue's beautiful eyes slowly turned over before landing on Chu Qingyi, Lu Yao and Qin Wentian. She calmly glanced at them before her eyes landed on Chu Qingyi. There was no expression in her eyes, and it was impossible to tell if she was happy or angry. She only spoke in an extremely calm voice. I heard from Xiaoxiao that someone barged into the cold nether immortal lake of my Snowdrift Sage Hall and was injured by her. Initially, she wanted to kill him, but he was saved by you. You even brought him to my clan and asked Lu Yao to give him a grand recovery pill? Replying to martial ant, he barged into the cold nether immortal lake unintentionally, and wasn't injured by Mo Xiaoxiao. He was already heavily injured. Chu Qingyi spoke in a tone that was neither servile nor overbearing. In that case there's no mistake. Chu Qingyi, as a holy maiden, do you know that the reputation of the holy maiden cannot be sullied? No matter how he barged into the cold nether immortal lake, you didn't kill him and even asked for a grand recovery pill. Do you think you're wrong? Lu Yinshua's voice was as calm as ever. That's right. Chu Qingyi stubbornly spoke. He's my friend, I naturally have to save him. Friend? Mo Xiaoxiao coldly laughed. He's your lover, right? He was seen by someone but you didn't kill him and even saved him? Friend? Mo Xiaoxiao. Chu Qingyi coldly stared at her. Are you angry because of my words? Or do you dare to say that you don't like him? Mo Xiaoxiao coldly laughed. So what if I like him? When we return to the Snowdrift Sage Hall, I will bear all responsibility. The grand recovery pill was borrowed by me. I will naturally return it. This has nothing to do with the Sage Hall, nor does it have anything to do with him. Chu Qingyi was extremely unyielding, wanting to protect Qin Wentian. As expected, Mo Xiaoxiao laughed. This time around, she wanted Chu Qingyi's reputation to fall through the floor. She wanted her to offend Lu Yanxue and ruin her future. Qingyi, I've once expressed my feelings for you, but who would have thought that you would actually reject me for the sake of a lecherous cripple? You've committed a grave mistake. Lu Zhanfei stared at Chu Qingyi as he spoke, but even so I don't mind. If you're willing to turn over a new leaf and accept me, I'm willing to plead for mercy for my aunt. I believe the Sage Hall wouldn't blame me for that. Chu Qingyi glanced at Lu Zhanfei as a look of disgust flashed in her eyes. Disgusting. Impudent. Lu Yanxue berated, her gaze turning cold. Holy Maiden Qingyi's beauty surpasses others. Why must you destroy your own future for a cripple? Is it worth it? At this moment Wu Tianjiao from the Wu clan also spoke, sighing. He had already understood the situation and felt that it wasn't worth it for Chu Qingyi. Such a beautiful holy maiden, if he could have her, it would truly be a good thing. Wu Bufan's eyes flashed. He glanced at his son and laughed. Indeed, holy maiden Qingyi has to think thrice before acting. Chapter 1439. Chu Qingyi stared at the father and son of the Wu clan as she coldly spoke. What does this have to do with you guys? I, Wu, have always admired the fairies of the Snowdrift Sage Hall. Now that I'm able to see Miss Chu's beauty, my heart is stirred. I can't bear to see Miss Chu fall into depravity and walk down the wrong path. Wu Tianjiao spoke in a dignified manner, using his status as an immortal king to say these words. Not only that, he praised the Snowdrift Sage Hall and even faintly revealed his admiration for Chu Qingyi. This caused Lu Yanxue to glance at him, instantly understanding Wu Tianjiao's intentions. Seems like the Wu clan came here to express their goodwill, and also wanted to form a marriage alliance with the Snowdrift Sage Hall. However, if they could marry Chu Qingyi into the Wu clan, it wouldn't be too bad. Chu Qingyi's talent was already extremely outstanding. After she came out from the Tiandao Sacred Academy, her cultivation speed was godly, and she was already on the verge of breaking through to the Immortal King realm. If it wasn't for the fact that she also entered the Tiandao Sacred Academy and broke through to the mid-stage of the Immortal King realm, suppressing Chu Qingyi's radiance, she would have attracted even more attention from the upper echelons of the Snowdrift Sage Hall. This time around, Mo Xiaoxiao wanted to use this opportunity to ruthlessly strike down Chu Qingyi. This wasn't a bad idea, suppressing Chu Qingyi's radiance. It would be even better if she could damage Chu Qingyi's conviction. Qingyi Wu Tianjiao is the personal disciple of the martial emperor. His talent is outstanding and has already broken through to the Immortal King realm. Lu Yanxue calmly spoke. After that, she turned to Wu Tianjiao and asked, Noble nephew Tianjiao, do you have feelings for Qingyi? If this is the case, I can ask Qingyi for her opinion. In that case, I will have to thank Senior. Wu Tianjiao smiled as he replied, his words causing the eyes of everyone to flash. Seems like the Wu clan came here with a purpose. They wanted to form a marriage alliance with the Snowdrift Sage Hall, and this Wu Tianjiao had his eyes on Chu Qingyi. That's right, among the females here, Chu Qingyi's beauty was the most outstanding. There was no need to mention the talent of the disciples of the Snowdrift Sage Hall. Qingyi, I'll give you another chance. Zhangfei and Wu Tianjiao are both interested in you. If you're willing, I'll help you tell your master that you have no interest in that lecher. I'll let you personally kill him to clear your name. As for the grand cyclic pill, forget about it, said Lu Yanxue. Dream on. Chu Qingyi said coldly, you're my uncle master and I respect you. However, I didn't do anything wrong. I merely borrowed a recover pill, and you want me to kill my friend? Stubborn. Lu Yanxue coldly snorted. She turned her gaze away, no longer looking at Chu Qingyi, as though she had already given her a chance. Qin Wentian listened quietly. He was somewhat taken aback. Lu Yanxue and Chu Qingyi were both disciples of the Snowdrift Sage Hall. Even if they weren't from the same faction, their relationship shouldn't be so bad. Seems like the competition within the Snowdrift Sage Hall was extremely intense. Lu Yanxue clearly wanted to use this opportunity to suppress Chu Qingyi. And he, Qin Wentian, had provided them with an opportunity to suppress Chu Qingyi. Are you all treating me as thin air? At this moment Qin Wentian spoke. He stared at the experts before him. The gazes of everyone turned over, landing on Qin Wentian. This person actually dared to speak? Lu Yanxue merely glanced at Qin Wentian and no longer looked at him. Lu Zhanfei mockingly stared at Qin Wentian as he laughed. As for Mo Xiaoxiao, she even laughed out loud. This was truly interesting. Is it very funny? Qin Wentian stared at Mo Xiaoxiao. These people were discussing how to resolve this matter, wanting Chu Qingyi to kill him to prove her innocence. It was as though he, Qin Wentian, was just an insignificant existence that they could kill whenever they wanted. There was no need for them to question his existence, treating him as though he didn't exist. A lecher who invaded the Cold Nether Immortal Lake and was almost killed by me. You relied on a recover pill to prolong your life. Yet you actually want to make others pay attention to your existence? Isn't this funny? A smile hung on Mo Xiaoxiao's face. I initially thought you would hide behind junior sister Qingyi and shut your mouth. I didn't expect you to jump out to speak. You guys were discussing how to kill me, but you actually didn't expect me to speak? Qin Wentian sighed. The life of a human was like grass. If it was someone else, in front of these major powers, the life of an ordinary person wouldn't even be worth a mention. These people were used to being high up in the air, peering down at the masses. How would they care about the life and death of an ordinary person? Sir Qin, you don't have to interfere in this matter. Lu Yao tugged on Qin Wentian's sleeves, feeling somewhat nervous. Qin Wentian's actions would only make things more and more chaotic. At that time, even if Chu Qingyi did her best, she wouldn't be able to protect him. Lu Yao, how dare you? Lu Yao's elder berated. This person's life was originally given by you, yet he still dares to spout such arrogant words. Seems like he's tired of living. Is that so? Qin Wentian suddenly laughed. Although his injuries have yet to fully recover, it wouldn't affect his combat prowess. A mere city lord actually dared to disregard his existence? Since you guys feel that I'm tired of living then. Qin Wentian laughed. However, who wants to take my life? Qin Wentian. Chu Qingyi's gaze froze. She transmitted her voiceover. Lu Yanxue's cultivation base is very high. She's at the mid-stage of the Immortal King realm. City Lord Lu is even more powerful. Don't try to show off now, leave this to me. A look of worry appeared on her face. Qin Wentian's personality was still the same as when he was in the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Tyrannical and unbridled. No one could make him retreat. The people from the Lu clan very quickly infuriated him. Qingyi, you are so protective of him, yet he wants to seek death. He basically doesn't appreciate your kindness at all. Such a trash, yet you are treating him like this? Could it be that you are truly blind? Lu Zhanfei saw that Chu Qingyi and Lu Yao were both looking at Qin Wentian with worry, as though they were transmitting their voiceover to persuade him. He shook his head. His talent was extraordinary, and he was also a heaven chosen of the Lu clan. He was interested in Chu Qingyi, yet she had always ignored him. However, such a person before him was actually treated so seriously by Chu Qingyi. This caused Lu Zhanfei to feel extremely embarrassed. Chu Qingyi. At this moment Qin Wentian suddenly spoke. His expression was calm and solemn. Chu Qingyi suddenly felt that Qin Wentian seemed to have changed into a different person in this instant. He was no longer as amiable and approachable as before. The him right now was extremely sharp, arrogant and unapproachable. He was Qin Wentian from the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Inclining her head slightly, Chu Qingyi stared at Qin Wentian, whose aura had changed. She actually felt a sense of reverence in her heart, as though he was the only existence in this world. I've already said it before. I no longer hold the matters of the past against you. This time around, I was heavily injured and fell into the cold nether lake. It was you who brought me here to recuperate. Although I would still be fine even without the grand recovery pill, I still have to thank you for everything you have done for me. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. He then continued, however, a true man can clearly distinguish between gratitude and grudges. You are you, but today the people of the Snowdrift Sage Hall humiliated me multiple times. This is unforgivable. I won't show mercy because of you. I hope you can understand. Chu Qingyi's body trembled when she heard Qin Wentian's words. At this instant, she could feel the imposing aura of a monarch descending upon the world. A true man can clearly distinguish between gratitude and grudges. The words spoken by Qin Wentian were like golden words and jade rules. He would definitely do what he said. Chu Qingyi was stunned. She didn't understand where Qin Wentian's confidence came from. However, she could truly sense the pride radiating from him. He was Qin Wentian who fought against the 9 emperors' immortal states Huang Shatian, with a cultivation base at the 7th level of Immortal Foundation in the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Qin Wentian who ate white tigers as food. No matter where he went, he would always be so dazzling, exuding boundless magnificence. No one would be able to make him give in and take a step back. Those who humiliated him would definitely regret it. Lu Yao was also intimidated by Qin Wentian's aura. She suddenly thought of the words Qin Wentian had said to her before. He asked her what wish she had, and he said that he might help her fulfill it. Did Qin Wentian really have such an ability? That heavily injured patient whom she had been treating with medicinal pills suddenly became different at this moment. Has this fellow gone mad? Mo Xiaoxiao was stunned for a moment before she suddenly spoke. She stared at Qin Wentian and could faintly sense an extraordinary aura from him. However, he actually dared to say such shocking words, saying that he wouldn't spare the people of the Snowdrift Sage Hall? Not only for Mo Xiaoxiao, the other guests who came to attend the banquet were all staring at Qin Wentian as though they were looking at a madman. Was this person stimulated by something? Earlier, he said that Qin Wentian was tired of living and sent people to kill him. Now, he even said that he wouldn't spare the experts of the Snowdrift Sage Hall. I was heavily injured and was forced to consume a grand recovery pill. I have no grudges or grievances with you guys, yet you guys are actually discussing my life and death here? How ridiculous! Qin Wentian stepped out, moving towards the empty space ahead. His gaze turned to Lu Zhanfei and Mo Xiaoxiao. Even people like you guys dare to insult me? Since this is the case, the trash you guys are talking about is standing here. Who will come and kill me? Courting death. Lu Zhanfei stood up. His demeanor was extraordinary as he floated up. He stared at Qin Wentian before glancing at Chu Qingyi. Since his injuries have already recovered, Chu Qingyi, let me prove to you how bad your judgment is. Law energy gushed forth as Lu Zhanfei slashed out with his sword. His speed was as fast as lightning. The law energy of ice and snow covered the sky, burying Qin Wentian's body. That sword was like a bolt of lightning, piercing towards Qin Wentian's body. What a fast sword! As expected of a genius of the Lu clan. Everyone silently mused. The whistling sound of the sword was extremely ear-piercing, transforming into a sonic boom. Careful! Chu Qingyi and Lu Yao both exclaimed in shock. However, Qin Wentian didn't seem to have any intentions of moving at all. He quietly stood there, allowing that terrifyingly sharp sword to envelop him, piercing towards his heart. Chu Qingyi and Lu Yao both turned pale with fright. However, at this very moment the space around them seemed to have frozen. Lu Zhanfei's sword pierced into Qin Wentian's body, yet it couldn't penetrate through at all. That whistling sword qi actually didn't harm Qin Wentian in the slightest. You are wearing a defensive armor? Lu Zhanfei's countenance changed. Qin Wentian stared at Lu Zhanfei with pity in his eyes. He stretched out his hands and grabbed hold of Lu Zhanfei's sword. Instantly, Lu Zhanfei's sword shattered into pieces, transforming into nothingness. Staring at those cold eyes, Lu Zhanfei's countenance changed as his heart pounded madly. "Retreat!" Lu Yinxue shouted. However, it was already too late. Qin Wentian's jade-white palm stretched out, directly grabbing onto Lu Zhanfei's throat. His cold eyes stared at Lu Zhanfei as he spoke with pity. "Is it Chu Qingyi who is blind, or are you blind? Release him." "Zhanfei!" Many experts from the Lu clan shouted as they stood up. Lu Yinxue also stood up as she icily spoke. "If you think that you can use Lu Zhanfei as a hostage to leave this place, I'm afraid it's impossible. Release him and I'll give you a quick death." "Even at this moment you are still thinking of ways to negotiate?" Qin Wentian laughed. This Lu Yinxue most probably thought that he would use Lu Zhanfei's life to force these people to let him leave. Hence, she spoke first to intentionally give him pressure. "That's right, for someone as arrogant as you it's no wonder." Qin Wentian indifferently laughed. "You have no idea who I am, what sort of person I am. If I want to leave, do I need his help?" Qin Wentian laughed as a terrifying sword might manifest it in his palms. In just an instant, Lu Zhanfei let out an incomparably terrified scream. After which, the sword intent from Qin Wentian ravaged his body, shattering it into nothingness. Boom boom boom. An extremely tyrannical killing intent gushed forth, enveloping Qin Wentian. However, Qin Wentian stood there arrogantly, calmly feeling everything as he spoke in an incomparably arrogant voice. "Before this, you all wanted to stop me from leaving. But now I want you all to beg me to leave." Chapter 1440. As Qin Wentian spoke, a powerful aura gushed forth from him. At this moment he was like an unexcelled character, standing there as though he was the only existence in this world. Before this, the City Lord Manor didn't allow him to leave. But now, he wanted the City Lord Manor to beg him to leave. How arrogant was this? However, Qin Wentian spoke in such a natural manner, as though his words could sever iron. He was heavily injured and was sent to the City Lord Manor to recuperate after consuming a grand recovery pill. This originally wasn't a big deal, but because of the internal strife of the Snowdrift Sage Hall, they actually used him to suppress Chu Qingyi, calling him trash and wanting his life, as though he could be killed by anyone. How arrogant, how much contempt did they have for his existence? Since this was the case, he would let the City Lord Manor know what sort of existence he was. At this moment, the people of the City Lord Manor didn't care about what sort of existence Qin Wentian was. They were more concerned about Qin Wentian's killing of Lu Zhanfei. They only cared about Lu Zhanfei's death. Numerous figures stood up, their anger blazing. "Zhanfei!" A middle-aged man screamed miserably. Lu Zhanfei was his son, yet he was killed just like that. His talent was extraordinary, and he would surely become an immortal king in the future, having great accomplishments. But now he died just like that. A moment ago, he was still in high spirits, but in the next instant, not even his bones remained. His eyes widened as his killing intent towered up into the sky. Immortal King Realm. Lu Yinxue's voice was ice-cold. Although Qin Wentian didn't release his full aura, she could already sense that this was the aura of an immortal king. The person Chu Qingyi liked was a young man at the Immortal King Realm. Mo Xiaoxiao, who was at the side, stiffened. She had always thought that Qin Wentian was spying on them and was injured by her. Hence, she had never looked at Qin Wentian in the eye. But when Qin Wentian killed Lu Zhanfei, only then did she realize that the things she thought to be natural weren't so. "Capture him." The city lord of the Lu clan coldly spoke. His palm slammed onto the table, instantly shattering it. His imposing eyes were filled with killing intent. Yes. Many silhouettes stepped out, emitting terrifying auras. Many of the experts who came to attend the birthday celebration were shocked. They didn't expect that during the birthday celebration of City Lord Lu, someone would actually kill the grandson of the City Lord. This was simply audacious. Just a moment ago, they had thought that Qin Wentian would take Lu Zhanfei hostage to negotiate terms. The next moment, Lu Zhanfei was killed so decisively. "Kill," said Qin Wentian coldly as he stared at the many silhouettes walking towards him. In just an instant, the destructive sword might swept through the air. In just an instant, the sounds of swords being slashed rang out incessantly. One silhouette after another was slain. However, Qin Wentian still stood there, not moving at all. He showed no mercy. He directly started a massacre at the birthday banquet. Bang! City Lord Lu stomped his foot on the ground, causing the ground to crumble. His anger was uncontrollable. There was actually someone who dared to act so atrociously, disregarding everything, directly slaughtering people in his manner and at his birthday banquet. This is an opportunity. Wu Bufan transmitted his voice to his son Wu Tianjiao. Wu Tianjiao's eyes flashed as he nodded his head lightly. This was an opportunity. An opportunity to form a good relationship with the Snowdrift Sage Hall. With an intention of his will, a violent law domain manifested before Qin Wentian. That tempest was extremely terrifying, instantly causing many experts to retreat. With Qin Wentian at the center, golden spears manifested in the tempest, piercing through everything. Just the light from the spears caused the ground around Qin Wentian to rumble as the ground around him crumbled. Qin Wentian had to protect himself with a light barrier. As long as Wu Tianjiao gave the command, the entire space around him would be destroyed by the golden spears. Wu Tianjiao, Immortal King. When an immortal king acts, he truly is extraordinary. Everyone sighed in their hearts. How powerful was Qin Wentian? To compress all the energy of an immortal king into the space Qin Wentian was standing in. How fearsome was this power? Just the aftershock from the explosion was sufficient to destroy the earth, causing terrifying fissures to appear. Wu Tianjiao stepped out, appearing in the air. He was like an unexcelled divinity as he calmly spoke, "Everyone, please step back." As the sound of his voice faded, everyone retreated, opening up the battlefield for Wu Tianjiao. A battle between immortal kings would definitely cause great shockwaves. Wu Tianjiao's attacks were extraordinary. A golden spear could be seen behind his back, shining with resplendent light. It was as though he was the ruler of countless spears. Wu Tianjiao is as expected of a supreme genius, becoming a personal disciple of an immortal emperor. Truly unparalleled. Someone sighed in admiration. Seems like there's an 80% chance that Wu Tianjiao's wish of forming a marriage alliance with the Snowdrift Sage Hall will come true. He is using this opportunity to establish his might and show goodwill to the Snowdrift Sage Hall. Everyone mused. Kill. As the sound of Chu Tianjiao's voice faded, he waved his palms as numerous golden spears filled with destructive might shot forth with lightning speed, directly blasting into Qin Wentian. Their speed was so fast that Qin Wentian didn't even have time to dodge. The golden spears directly pierced through everything, aiming for Qin Wentian's body. No. Chu Qingyi's eyes turned red. This destructive might was too terrifying. This was an attack from an immortal king. Qin Wentian had just left the Tiandao Sacred Academy not long ago. Even if he had broken through to the immortal king realm and had unparalleled talent, it was impossible for him to block such an attack with his body alone. He would die without a doubt. Lu Yao clenched her fists tightly. Her entire body was instantly drenched in sweat. Even her breathing was stagnant as she stared fixedly ahead. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Terrifying sounds of collision rang out. The golden spears radiated such light that the spectators couldn't even open their eyes. All of them pierced into Qin Wentian's body. However, under the shocked gazes of the spectators, in the center of the golden spears, a figure stood there with his hands clasped behind his back. He allowed the terrifying attacks to land on him, yet he remained unmoved. How is this possible? Great waves of shock rose in the hearts of the spectators. Qin Wentian didn't even blink. He quietly stood there as resplendent light circulated around him, unexcelled in the world. All the attacks that landed on him were all blocked. Wu Tianjiao's countenance was similarly unsightly to behold. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Seems like you guys still don't understand. Qin Wentian's emotionless voice rang out. He stared at Wu Tianjiao in the air with contempt in his eyes. You want to form a marriage alliance with the Snowdrift Sage Hall. Wanting to curry favor with them isn't wrong. However, you shouldn't have used me as a stepping stone, wanting to use my life to curry favor with others. This is the most foolish decision you've ever made in your life. You only want to curry favor with the Snowdrift Sage Hall, but have you ever thought that I'm not someone a lowly existence like you can humiliate? As the sound of his voice faded, he stretched out his hand as a terrifying palm imprint appeared in the air. Wu Tianjiao roared, his golden spear pierced out, but it was directly shattered by the palm imprint. That terrifying palm imprint landed on Wu Qianzhao's body, and in just an instant, that terrifying palm imprint actually killed Wu Qianzhao, who was standing in the air on the spot. Qianzhao! Wu Bufan roared in grief and anger. He soared into the air, and just when he wanted to do something, he saw that palm imprint slamming into him. He only had enough time to catch a cold corpse as everything in his body was destroyed, including his vitality. And at this moment, Qin Wentian soared into the air as his immortal king might gushed forth. The might of a mid-stage immortal king instantly enveloped the entire city lord manor. Everyone inclined their heads in shock as they stared at the young man in the air. He was actually so powerful. Not long ago, everyone thought that Wu Qianzhao was an unexcelled character, yet he was actually killed with a single palm strike. Mid-stage immortal king. Lu Yinxue inclined her head and stared at the sky. Her robes fluttered in the wind as a powerful aura gushed forth. Qin Wentian was actually a mid-stage immortal king. Mo Xiaoxiao, who was beside her, turned pale. A mid-stage immortal king. The person she called trash, the person she killed with a single palm strike, was actually a mid-stage immortal king. How ironic was this? What a slap to the face. She only felt her face burning up. No wonder Chu Qingyi rejected so many people but only showed such feelings towards him. So it turned out that this young man before her was actually so extraordinary, so outstanding. She didn't know that right now, Chu Qingyi was also in a state of shock. Although she knew that Qin Wentian's talent was at the peak and knew that he would surely have unparalleled accomplishments in the future, she didn't expect him to be able to break through to the mid-stage of the immortal king realm so quickly in such a short period of time. This was simply an opportunity. Lu Yao also felt that she was in a dream. As for Lu Zhan and the others from Lu Yao's faction, never in their wildest dreams would they have imagined that the person they mocked and ridiculed was actually a mid-stage immortal king. If they knew this, let alone a single grand recovery pill, so what even if it was two? To be able to save a mid-stage immortal king, how could a few pills compare to such a favor? But now it was no longer a favor, it was a grudge. A single pill is actually treated as a plaything, killing me whenever you want to. My Qin's life is actually inferior to a single pill. Qin Wentian laughed. He glanced at the surroundings only to see Lu Yinxue slowly soaring up into the air as a cold intent gushed forth from her, terrifying to the extreme. Wu Bufan also soared up into the air. Golden light radiated from him as his killing intent permeated the air. Do you know who the person you killed earlier is? Wu Bufan coldly spoke. He is the personal disciple of an Empyrean emperor. Even if you are a mid-stage immortal king, even if you come from an extraordinary power, you actually dared to kill so impudently in front of me, humiliating my Snowdrift Sage Hall. Today you still deserve death. Lu Yinxue coldly spoke, directly bringing out the name of the Snowdrift Sage Hall, preparing to kill Qin Wentian, because she realized that she had offended an extraordinary character. This young man before her might very well be from an extraordinary power, and she was the one who humiliated him first. Hence, she brought out the name of the Snowdrift Sage Hall, saying that it was Qin Wentian who humiliated the Snowdrift Sage Hall. How could Qin Wentian not understand her thoughts? But she didn't understand that Qin Wentian basically didn't care if she was someone from the Snowdrift Sage Hall or not. Naturally, he wouldn't care that the person he killed earlier was a personal disciple of an Empyrean emperor. For those who wanted his life, there was no need for him to show mercy. Regretfully, even at this moment you guys still don't understand. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, a swishing sound rang out. His body was like a great rock exuding extreme speed. Wu Bufan's countenance instantly changed. He wanted to retreat but it was too late. Qin Wentian blasted out with a palm strike, directly shattering the golden light screen Wu Bufan created. With a thunderous boom, an incomparably powerful palm imprint latched onto Wu Bufan's body. Personal disciple of an immortal emperor? I can't even remember how many I've killed before. So what if you are the son of an immortal emperor? Qin Wentian mockingly laughed. Since you guys still don't understand, let me make you understand what sort of person I am. As the sound of his voice faded, he blasted out with his palm. With a thunderous boom, Wu Bufan's body was directly shattered into pieces. A powerful immortal king had a look of despair on his face. His eyes were filled with despair. So what if you are the son of an immortal emperor? What sort of existence is this man exactly? At this moment, they finally realized how terrifying the young man standing in the void was. Chapter 1441. Wu Bufan died. Wu Bufan and Wu Tianjiao initially wanted to use Qin Wentian as a stepping stone, stepping on Qin Wentian to climb up to the experts of the Snowdrift Sage Hall. They stood out to kill Qin Wentian to get closer to the Snowdrift Sage Hall. Sadly, this was the last decision they made in their lives. It was the most foolish decision they made, and it directly cost their lives. Using Qin Wentian's life to curry favor with the experts of the Snowdrift Sage Hall? How many people here could be comparable to Qin Wentian? Tenlon Heaven Kingdom, Supreme Sword School, 9 Emperors Immortal State, White Tiger People, Dongsheng Heaven Emperor, Zidi and so many other terrifying characters wanted Qin Wentian's life. For the sake of killing him, Dongsheng Heaven Emperor didn't hesitate to enter the tutelage of Old Devil Duotian. There were so many people who wanted his life. What was laughable was that Wu Bufan and his son wanted to use Qin Wentian's life to exchange for a favorable impression from the Snowdrift Sage Hall. One strike. The hearts of everyone started pounding madly, as waves of shock rose in their hearts. Staring at the magnificent silhouette floating in the air, if they still didn't understand that the Snowdrift Sage Hall and City Lord Manor had offended an extraordinary character, how foolish would they be? The City Lord Manor is truly a joke this time around. There's also the Holy Maiden of the Snowdrift Sage Hall, Mo Xiaoxiao. Everyone mused silently. Mo Xiaoxiao said that this man was a lecher, and was heavily injured by her with a single strike. He only survived because of the Grand Recovery Pill. Hence, they wanted to use this opportunity to attack the other Holy Maiden, and occasionally discussed about Qin Wentian's life and death. It was as though the young man standing before Chu Qingyi was insignificant and not worth a mention. No one asked for his opinion, no one cared about his thoughts, and no one even thought about what sort of character he was. Hence a shocking scene occurred. That most inconspicuous existence that no one cared about was able to insta-kill an immortal king, and the personal disciple of an immortal emperor. So what if they were the descendants of immortal emperors? When facing the Holy Maiden of the Snowdrift Sage Hall, Lu Yanxue, who was borrowing the might of the Snowdrift Sage Hall, his expression didn't fluctuate at all. It was like he basically didn't care about the Snowdrift Sage Hall standing behind Lu Yanxue. Right now, Chu Qingyi was so shocked that she couldn't speak. Her beautiful body trembled. She simply didn't dare to believe that what she saw was real. That figure standing proudly in the air was somewhat similar to the time when she was at the Tiandao Sacred Academy. The same magnificence, the same unparalleled aura. But the him now was even more tyrannical and domineering. Naturally, his strength was even more terrifying. Qing, young Master Qin. Lu Yao's voice was slightly trembling. She simply didn't dare believe her eyes. Was that peerless figure that floated in the sky really that young man that was quietly recuperating, modest and warm, and would talk cheerfully and wittily with her? Was she really not seeing things? All of this felt like a dream. His name is Qin Wentian, a disciple of the immortal Qinbian Gate in the eastern regions. It's rumored that he's the personal disciple of the Emperor Qinbian. He's also the lover of the most doted daughter of the ruler of the Evergreen Kingdom, Chongqing the Great. He once entered the Tiandao Sacred Academy and I was there as well. He defeated Leiba, killed the geniuses of the Supreme Sword School, killed the experts of the peak-tier demon race, the White Tiger People, and ate white tiger meat as food. When he was at the 7th level of Immortal Foundation, he fought against the peak-tier Immortal Foundation genius of the 9 Emperors Immortal State, Huang Shatian. In the Tiandao Sacred Academy, his magnificence was unparalleled. Chu Qingyi's voice was solemn as she slowly continued. What he said is right. It's unknown how many of the so-called disciples of immortal emperors in the Tiandao Sacred Academy died under his palms. Chu Qingyi knew that given how great the commotion was, the Snowdrift Sage Hall would definitely investigate Qin Wentian's identity. Hence, there was no harm in saying it out loud. At least, the Snowdrift Sage Hall would feel some trepidation. Those who heard this felt their hearts trembling. Glorious battle achievements, unparalleled arrogance. Such a character was actually treated in such a manner by the Liu clan. The people of the Liu clan were truly blind. They actually caused such a commotion over a mere Grand Recovery Pill, and even wanted his life. How ridiculous! Such a character was only worth a single grand recovery pill? The people from Lu Yao's faction no longer knew what emotions they were feeling. Not long ago, they were still mocking Qin Wentian. How many years has it been since the Tiandao Sacred Academy was established? He entered the academy together with you. In such a short period of time, he actually stepped into the mid-stage of the Immortal King realm? Chu Qingyi, are you joking? Mo Xiaoxiao's heart trembled when she heard Chu Qingyi's words. However, she still didn't believe it. How could this be true? A person who entered the academy together with Chu Qingyi, how could he break through to the mid-stage of the Immortal King realm in such a short period of time? Nobody would be able to do this. Chu Qingyi's eyes flashed. She stared at Mo Xiaoxiao as she coldly spoke. In this world, there are some people who are destined to be extraordinary. They would cause ordinary people to sigh in admiration, causing geniuses to look up to them. They would leave everyone else in the dust, leaving all their peers in the dust, forever walking at the forefront. These people are all legends in history, and many of them are known as ancient emperors. Rumble. Mo Xiaoxiao's heart pounded violently. She stared at Qin Wentian in shock. I don't believe it. The establishment of the Tiandao Sacred Academy was indeed a symbol of the arrival of the era of ancient emperors. Chu Qingyi's words were undoubtedly hinting that Qin Wentian might be the person destined to enter the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Hence, she felt as though she was struck by lightning as her body trembled. The hearts of everyone present trembled violently. They didn't expect Chu Qingyi to have such a high evaluation of this man. She believed that this man was the future ancient emperor, the legendary existence prophesied by the Tiandao Sacred Academy. You were heavily injured and fell into the cold Nether Lake. You were heavily injured and fell into the cold Nether Immortal Lake. You directly attacked me again, knocking me unconscious. If this matter is just a misunderstanding, I can ignore it. But after that, you bullied and humiliated me multiple times. In order to fight against Chu Qingyi, you even implicated me wanting my life, damaging Chu Qingyi's Dao heart. Although you are the holy maiden of the Snowdrift Sage Hall, you actually humiliated me like this. Qin Wentian roared at Mo Xiaoxiao, only to see Mo Xiaoxiao's entire body trembling violently. She was actually forced to retreat a few steps due to the impact of his roar. Before this, she was incomparably arrogant in front of Qin Wentian. But now she understood that in front of Qin Wentian, she had no qualifications at all. She was an immortal foundation character while he was a mid-stage immortal king. Qin Wentian's talent was unrivaled. She couldn't even be compared to Chu Qingyi. How could she be compared to Qin Wentian? Regardless of strength, status, or identity, she was inferior to Qin Wentian. However, she still dared to humiliate him, wanting to kill Qin Wentian. At this moment, Qin Wentian asked her if she deserved death. Lu Yenshua's countenance was extremely unsightly to behold. At this moment, she understood that even with her status, she wouldn't be able to intimidate Qin Wentian. In addition, there seemed to be two Empyrean powers supporting him from behind. His status in these two powers was even higher compared to her in the Snowdrift Sage Hall. At this moment, it was hard for Lu Yenshua to dismount. She stared at Qin Wentian. Since you have an extraordinary status, why don't we sit down and discuss this matter? Are you joking? Qin Wentian glanced at Lu Yenshua as he coldly spoke. What's there to discuss? Even if you are an extraordinary character, this place is the territory of my Snowdrift Sacred Hall, my Lu clan. If you act stubbornly, you won't be able to gain any benefits. Lu Yenshua stared at the air, staring at Qin Wentian. Her cold underworld aura gushed forth like a tempest, threatening Qin Wentian. Chu Qingyi, I initially wanted to give some face to your Snowdrift Sacred Hall, and didn't want to make an enemy out of you. However, this man still has such an attitude. In that case, report back to your Snowdrift Sacred Hall that I have killed these two. If your Snowdrift Sacred Hall wants revenge, I, Qin Wentian, will accept it. If your Snowdrift Sacred Hall doesn't mind, I, Qin Wentian, will treat today's matter as though nothing has happened. As the sound of Qin Wentian's voice faded, a third eye appeared in the center of his brows. In an instant, the evil god Law Domain manifested, directly enveloping Lu Yenshua and Mo Xiaoxiao. The cold underworld energy radiating from Lu Yenshua could freeze everything. However, Mo Xiaoxiao wasn't so lucky. When the Law Domain manifested, the entire space here was destroyed. She was merely at the immortal foundation realm. How could she defend against it? Impudent. Lu Yinxue blocked before Imo Xiaoxiao. If I want to kill someone, can you block me? As the sound of Qin Wentian's voice faded, the terrifying evil god law domain manifested, wanting to destroy everything. In an instant, Imo Xiaoxiao screamed in agony as she fell into the vortex of destruction. Boom! At this moment, City Lord Lu stepped out, radiating a fearsome aura. The aura of a peak-stage immortal king erupted forth. Do you want me to massacre the entire City Lord Manor? Qin Wentian glanced over. He stared at City Lord Lu and stepped out as his divine elephant law domain manifested. Thunderous rumbling sounds shook the heavens and earth, wanting to crush everything. At this moment, City Lord Lu actually hesitated. As a peak-stage immortal king, he actually felt a sense of terror in front of this man before him. This man was too terrifying. His aura, his gaze, it felt like no one would be able to block him. If he acted, the entire City Lord Manor would be buried together with him. Bang! Only to see Lu Yinxue roaring. Her cold underworld energy enveloped the heavens and earth. Frost drifted about, causing everyone to shiver from the cold. Her long hair fluttered in the wind as she roared in rage, breaking free from the domain and rushing towards Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian turned his gaze away from the city lord and glanced at Lu Yinxue. God's hand circulated the energy in his body, as his law energy condensed into a sword. When he saw Lu Yinxue rushing over, his silhouette flashed, moving like a phantom, as fast as a great rock. Die! Lu Yinxue stabbed out with a finger. The frost energy transformed into a terrifying ice dragon that shot towards Qin Wentian, engulfing him within. Qin Wentian's entire body was enveloped by the frost energy. But at this moment, that illusory figure slashed out with a sword. The Sword of Dreams. With a single sword strike, Lu Yinxue only felt the entire world turning white. It was like she couldn't see or feel the sword. Only her frost energy could be felt. She was the ruler of this world. At this moment in the world she was the ruler of. A sword manifested, erupting forth from the frost energy. No! Lu Yinxue screamed in shock, her eyes filled with terror. That sword strike actually caused her to enter a dreamscape. The sword was like a great rock, moving with extreme speed, slicing through bodies. The unexcelled, incomparably arrogant Lu Yinxue was slain with a single sword strike. At this moment, the city lord was still hesitating. When he saw this shocking scene, he was speechless in his heart. His face was like dead ashes as he closed his eyes. His Dao heart was trembling. There was really such a genius in this world. He stood arrogantly in the air. How could there be anyone else in this world? He was the ruler of this world, deciding everything, peering down at the masses. At this instant, the city lord seemed to have aged. That moment of hesitation caused his Dao heart to be damaged. From now on, it would be hard for him to advance any further. Chapter 1442. Qin Wentian slowly spoke. After that, he turned his gaze to the people of the Lu clan. I hope everyone can hear my words clearly. I view Lu Yaoyao as my younger sister. In the future, if my younger sister suffers any grievances in the Lu clan, I will hold all of you accountable. If there's anyone who dares to act against her, I will definitely wash the Lu clan with blood. You guys better watch yourselves. Chu Qingyi stared at his back as she slowly spoke. Although we aren't fated, I will stand on the flat ground and look at you, waiting for the day when everyone in the world knows of me. Naturally. Qin Wentian smiled and nodded. Lu Yinxue's attitude was extremely lofty. Other than her father, City Lord Lu, no one else could enter her eyes. She was the only existence here, able to decide the life and death of people. In fact, she even wanted to choose a marriage partner for Chu Qingyi, allowing Chu Qingyi to choose between Lu Zhanfei and Wu Tianjiao. Thank you. Even I hate myself when I was in the Tiandao Sacred Academy. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be the Chu Qingyi I am now. Chu Qingyi's smile was gentle as she stared at Qin Wentian. At that time, I was also similar to Imo Xiaoxiao, thinking that I'm infallible. The Lu clan has no eyes, Lu Mu has no objections. Although City Lord Lu was filled with hatred in his heart, and wanted to kill Qin Wentian here, he had to endure it. City Lord Lu saw that Lu Yinxue was killed, but he still didn't act. He was very clear of Lu Yinxue's strength. She was killed by a single sword strike from Qin Wentian. This young man before him had extraordinary strength. Although he was only at the mid-stage of the Immortal King realm, regardless of his aura or combat prowess, they had all reached a shocking level. Lu Yinxue was killed with a single sword strike. A peak-stage Immortal King City Lord actually hesitated because of a single sentence from Qin Wentian. His Dao heart was damaged, and right now, his countenance was pale, as though he had aged a lot in an instant. Lu Yinxue walked down from the Snowdrift Sage Hall, exuding a magnificent magnificence. The experts of the various powers in Cold Nether City all came to pay their respects. Other than wanting to get close to the City Lord Manor, it was also because of her relationship with Lu Yinxue. The daughter of the Lu clan in the City Lord Manor had outstanding talent and had extremely high achievements in the Snowdrift Sage Hall. Her status was extraordinary and many experts wanted to pay their respects to her. Lu Yao, have you ever heard of someone in this world who could break through to the mid-stage of the Immortal King realm from the Immortal Foundation realm in a mere tens of years, slaying a late-stage Immortal King Holy Maiden of the Snowdrift Sage Hall with a single sword strike? Chu Qingyi smiled as she looked at the departing figure. Lu Yao's heart shook slightly as she shook her head. That's right, there has never been such a person in this world. If he did not stand at the peak, who else could? But now Wu Tianjiao, Wu Bufan and Mo Xiaoxiao were dead. Big Brother Qin said that even immortal emperors were chasing after him. From this, one could see that even immortal emperors felt an intense threat from him. Just as Chu Qingyi had said, some people were born extraordinary. They were destined to be different from others. They could trample all the geniuses of their generation under their feet, defeat all those in the same cultivation level, and even surpass their cultivation level to do battle. This was something that couldn't be forced. Lu Yao felt warmth in her heart. She accepted Qin Wentian's kind intentions, only to feel her eyes turning slightly red. Earlier when her clan members mocked her, she truly felt very uncomfortable. For the sake of benefits, in order to curry favor with Mo Xiaoxiao and Lu Yinxue, no one stood on her side. All sorts of insults and curses could be heard. Big Brother Qin, in the future when you pass by the Lu clan, remember to come and visit me? Lu Yao smiled sweetly. Earlier when I wanted to leave the Lu clan, I was obstructed by all of you and was imprisoned here. Now can I leave? Qin Wentian coldly asked. Chu Qingyi stared at Qin Wentian as she slowly spoke. You should know that I didn't help you because of anything. Today was supposed to be City Lord Lu's birthday banquet, a day of great joy. So many experts came to congratulate him. How glorious would that be? But now, City Lord Lu understood that even if he acted personally, he wouldn't have the confidence to win against Qin Wentian. Even if he won, he wouldn't be able to kill Qin Wentian. And Qin Wentian could easily slaughter the people of the Lu clan. After all, it was the Lu clan that offended Qin Wentian first. The hearts of everyone from the Lu clan trembled. They knew that Lu Yao, who was mocked by everyone earlier, would walk a different path. She would become the luckiest person in the Lu clan. Such a character, how could they allow them to humiliate her so wantonly? Qin Wentian even threatened to kill her, completely disregarding life. How could such a character not act to take revenge? With a single sword strike, Lu Yinxue was slain. Lu Yao's delicate body trembled. Indeed, given Qin Wentian's cultivation base and combat prowess, even if it was something he didn't need, it was still a supreme treasure to her and many others here. You are the Holy Maiden of the Snowdrift Sage Hall. I don't know what you lack. Do you have anything you want me to help with? Qin Wentian asked. A smile appeared in Qin Wentian's eyes. At this instant, the sharpness in his eyes was retracted. With a wave of his hand, an interspatial ring floated before Lu Yao. He then spoke. Lu Yao, you said before that you hope to obtain good divine weapons, as well as powerful cultivation arts. Within this ring, there are some that I specially selected for you. To me they aren't of much use, but they should be able to aid your cultivation. You don't have to decline. The people from the Lu clan stared at the figure in the air, feeling the light radiating from him. They felt so ashamed that they couldn't even show their faces. Not long ago, they actually wanted to decide the life and death of Qin Wentian. How laughable was this? But at this moment, the happy event turned into a sad one. If we can start over, we can become very good friends. Qin Wentian spoke. He then continued, Chuching, no matter what, thank you. You said that you treat me as a younger sister. In that case, can I call you elder brother? Lu Yao smiled at Qin Wentian. Chu Qingyi's beautiful eyes flashed with a gentle smile. Extremely moving. Before this, everyone thought that Chu Qingyi was blind to have fallen in love with a trash. But now they finally understood what sort of person Chu Qingyi had fallen in love with. They also understood that this was merely a one-sided love of Chu Qingyi, a one-sided love of the holy maiden of the Snowdrift Sage Hall. However, they didn't feel anything wrong about this, as though this was very normal. It was because the figure standing in the air was simply too dazzling. Even Lu Yanxue was killed by a single sword strike. Even the holy maiden Chu Qingyi wasn't on the same level as him. Naturally, every word City Lord Lu spoke was incomparably heavy. Everyone stared at Qin Wentian as they sighed in their hearts. Earlier they didn't allow him to leave, but now they wanted him to leave. If Qin Wentian didn't leave, the Lu clan would be in for a calamity. Lu Yao. Qin Wentian turned his gaze over, staring at Lu Yao. His words caused Lu Yao to start staring at the figure in the air. She couldn't help but sigh in her heart. She also didn't expect that this gentle and handsome young man would actually be so extraordinary. He could even be said to be unrivaled. Compared to the heaven chosen of the Wu clan, Wu Tianjiao, it was like comparing the boundless to a phoenix. Sure. Qin Wentian nodded. After that, he turned and departed in a carefree manner. City Lord Lu's countenance paled as he sighed in his heart. Indeed, their Lu clan was blind, offending such a character. He thought of the words spoken by Qin Wentian before this. You guys have no idea who I am and what sort of existence I am. When they first heard these words, all of them had mocking smiles on their faces. But now when they thought back to it, they truly felt how ironic they were. Because I'm being pursued by an immortal emperor, I can't stay here and I can't do too much for you. During these days you've been taking care of me with all your heart and kindness. In my heart, you are already like a younger sister to me. Back then when you were taking care of me, none of the people around you supported you. In fact, some of them even mocked and ridiculed you. There's no need for you to give the treasures you obtain to them. You can give them to those who treat you well. That wild hope in her heart would never become a reality. They were destined from the moment they were born, existences from different worlds. Not only that, the disparity between them would only grow greater and greater. I'm going to leave. Qin Wentian spoke. After causing such a huge commotion here, the news would surely leak out. Although the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor was located in an extremely far location and might not be able to reach him for safety's sake, they couldn't stay here any longer. At this moment, the people of the City Lord Manor felt their hearts trembling, incomparably shocked. Do you guys have any objections? Chu Qingyi. Qin Wentian spoke again. His eyes slowly turned over and landed on Chu Qingyi. The people of the Lu clan already felt numb in their hearts. There were also some people from the Snowdrift Sage Hall who were speechless. They didn't know what to feel. City Lord Lu, when I was unconscious, I was brought into the City Lord Manor. Lu Yao helped me consume a great recovery pill. It wasn't my decision to do so. I will naturally repay her kindness. However, I didn't do anything in the City Lord Manor. Lu Yanxue and the others kept saying that they wanted to decide my life and death. Do you guys have any objections if I kill them? Qin Wentian's eyes gleamed sharply as he stared at City Lord Lu. His words caused the hearts of everyone to tremble. Even when facing a peak stage immortal king, he was still so domineering. I understand. Qin Wentian nodded, feeling complicated in his heart. Once he wanted nothing more than to kill this woman before him and even humiliate her. The two of them had a grudge, but he didn't expect that right now Chu Qingyi would actually have feelings for him. However, Qin Wentian knew that it was impossible for him to accept this relationship just because Chu Qingyi helped him. Qin Wentian's figure gradually vanished. Lu Yao glanced at Chu Qingyi and asked, Big brother Qin, can you really stand at the peak of the immortal realms? For such a character, when he was in dire straits, when you could stand on the same line as him, you didn't manage to grab hold of him, you didn't manage to enter his heart. And now, when he was already so lofty, if you wanted to get closer to him, Chu Qingyi knew that this wasn't realistic. She could only have a single thought in her heart, that was all. And now, Qin Wentian had actually accomplished the wish she spoke of. She understood that everything Qin Wentian did, was all because of the words she spoke to him as a joke. But now, the words she spoke to him had become reality. From now on, who in the Lu clan would dare to do anything to her? Lu Yanxue even wanted Chu Qingyi to personally kill Qin Wentian to prove her innocence. Chu Qingyi inclined her head and stared at Qin Wentian. Back then, she still had the qualifications to stand shoulder to shoulder with Qin Wentian. But now she discovered that perhaps, she could only look up to this young man before her. In the birthday banquet of the Lu clan, City Lord Lu should be the main character. But today there was only a single person in the lead. The person who was humiliated and looked down on by so many. The smile in Chu Qingyi's beautiful eyes grew even more radiant. Qin Wentian nodded to her. After that, he turned to Lu Yao, goodbye. Chapter 1443. Qin Wentian flew on his sword, exiting the cold nether immortal city. Since he has already been exposed, he shouldn't stay here for long. In addition, he had no way to predict the attitude of the Snowdrift Sage Hall. After all, he had killed 2 holy maidens and the Snowdrift Sage Hall was a peak power. It wasn't impossible for them to vent their anger on him. Right now, Qin Wentian was already at the mid-stage of the Immortal King realm. His combat prowess had already surpassed his cultivation level. His demon sword was like a great rock, moving as fast as lightning. During these several months, Qin Wentian passed by several cities and obtained a detailed jade map from one of the cities. The various major regions of the central regions were marked out clearly, and there were even descriptions of the emperor rank powers and above in the central regions. Not only for the peak powers, there were also descriptions of the powers established by initial stage immortal emperors. The value of this map was extremely high, but Qin Wentian felt that it was worth the price he spent. The central regions of the immortal realms were extremely vast and experts were as common as the clouds. If one didn't include the myriad Devil Islands and Desolate Mountains, the central regions was the largest region with the highest number of major powers. Qin Wentian could use the spatial tunnel to leave this place but he didn't. He needed to temper himself eventually. That ambush on the ancient pathway on the Demon God Mountain caused Qin Wentian to feel an intense sense of danger. He had to grow stronger to be able to deal with all sorts of unexpected dangers. If not, even immortal emperors might not be able to protect him. For this trip, Qin Wentian's target was the city of ancient emperors. Along the way, he would be tempering himself. During these days, Qin Wentian had also witnessed many strange things, as well as many battles and massacres. Today, in an ancient tribe outside the city, screams of misery rang out. Over there, a powerful evil cultivator could be seen. Boundless black qi gushed forth from him, gushing towards the people in the tribe. The black qi circulated frenziedly within the bodies of the people, absorbing their essence, qi, and spirit. After that, the black qi flowed into the body of the black-robed figure in the air. The entire tribe was in a state of destruction. An old man and a young girl were madly fleeing outside the tribe. They didn't dare to soar into the air for fear of being noticed. However, at this moment the black qi gushed over. The young girl screamed, "Grandpa, the devil qi is here. You go first." The old man suddenly turned around and ran towards the black qi. The girl screamed and cried, "Grandpa, let's go." The old man shouted madly. The black air current struck out like black lightning, vaguely transforming into a dark face, swallowing the old man. The old man's aura surged, but he knew he couldn't block it at all. A look of despair appeared on his face. At this moment, a sword came from the west. The sword whistled through the air and directly pierced through the sky. With a soft sound, the sword pierced through the face formed by the dark qi and directly caused it to explode. The old man's eyes narrowed. He raised his head and saw a figure flying over from afar. He was like a celestial being with peerless elegance. "Grandpa!" The girl ran to the old man's side and shouted into the void, "Senior, please save us. Do you wish to meddle in other people's business?" From afar in the tribe, that evil cultivator turned his gaze over, staring at Qin Wentian with coldness in his eyes. His cultivation base was extremely powerful. He was actually at the Immortal King realm. "Your cultivation methods are too cruel. You shouldn't exist in this world." As the sound of Qin Wentian's voice faded, the demon sword slashed out explosively. It was like a great rock, slashing through the air towards that evil cultivator. The evil cultivator's evil chi transformed into a black dragon that howled in rage. However, the sword light of the great rock was incomparably resplendent, directly penetrating through everything, destroying the black dragon. The demon sword slashed out horizontally, breaking apart the void. In the air, an incomparably resplendent beam of sword light appeared. With a light sound, that evil cultivator stared at Qin Wentian in terror before his body exploded, directly dying. The sword returned, landing before Qin Wentian's feet. Many thanks to Senior for saving our lives. The old man knelt on the ground. The young girl stared at Qin Wentian with shock and gratitude. The others in the tribe also knelt to express their gratitude. It's nothing much. Qin Wentian shook his head. After that, he soared on his sword and departed. He couldn't bear to accept their kowtow. The immortal realms were too vast. It was impossible for him to use his entire life's worth of effort to eradicate evil cultivators. He could only do his best when he encountered them. After a few more days, Qin Wentian came to a demon kingdom. This demon kingdom was a world of demons, a place established by a demon emperor. He governed this area and gathered many greater demons in this demon kingdom. Ancient trees towered up into the sky, stretching as far as the eye could see. At this moment, in the outer regions of the demon kingdom, a group of young celestial phenomenon ascendants came here to temper themselves. There were both males and females in this group. All of them came from minor clans and clans. They had chosen to join a sect for their cultivation and came here to temper themselves. On the way here, they slew many demonic beasts and even collected the corpses of the demonic beasts. These were all treasures that were extremely valuable. That should be enough. If we continue, it would be extremely dangerous. Someone spoke. Don't worry. Let's kill some more demonic beasts. We originally came here for tempering ourselves. What's there to be afraid of? Someone suggested. Although there were some who were unwilling, they still continued to advance. They found a nest of golden demonic apes and initially prepared to retreat, but they discovered that a golden demonic ape was actually giving birth. Hence, they gathered their courage and advanced, killing their way over and killing the demonic ape, preparing to split the demonic beast's corpse. But at this moment, a heaven-shaking roar of rage rang out from afar. A terrifying golden demonic ape appeared, slaughtering all of them. That person who instigated them to come here was the fastest to escape. At the same time, there was also a female who fled together with him. However, she was already heavily injured. That young man felt that he would be a burden to them. He actually had evil intentions in his heart. Staring at the graceful figure of the female, an evil smile appeared on his face as he walked over. What are you doing? That female couldn't move freely and had injuries on her body. When she saw the look in his eyes, she felt her entire body turning cold. It's inconvenient to bring you along. Rather than dying in the hands of demonic beasts, why don't you help me achieve my goal? The young man laughed evilly. As the sound of his voice faded, a beam of sword light descended, directly slaying him. The female's expression froze. She inclined her head and saw an extraordinary silhouette standing in the air. Many thanks to Senior for saving my life. The female spoke with gratitude. The young man continued forward. Yet the female spoke, Senior, can you bring me along with you? Since you made your own choice, you have to bear the consequences yourself. If it wasn't for the fact that this person was too despicable, I wouldn't even bother to act. A cold voice rang out. Qin Wentian continued on his way. He had witnessed everything that happened earlier and had no sympathy for those who died. Qin Wentian continued on his way, advancing through the demonic beast forest. But at this moment, he halted his steps and spoke, "Come out." As the sound of his voice faded, a golden bird appeared. In an instant, light illuminated the area. This was a golden bird, a variant of the golden-winged great rock. Its ancestor had the bloodline of the golden-winged great rock in his veins. You ate that golden ape? Qin Wentian stared at the golden bird as he asked. A human killed the female ape and the demonic ape took revenge by killing the human. As for himself, he died in the hands of an even more powerful demonic beast. This was the law of the jungle and was also the epitome of the immortal realms. It was just that in this place it was even more straightforward. Bizizi. The golden bird opened its beak and let out a shrill cry. In just an instant, boundless golden lightning shot towards Qin Wentian. Golden swords filled the sky, slicing the ancient tree into pieces. Boom! Qin Wentian's body shimmered with light. The golden swords unceasingly slammed into him, but he remained unmoved. The golden bird suddenly rushed out with lightning speed, radiating a resplendent golden light. It transformed into a gigantic bird, its sharp talons slashing towards Qin Wentian. Its eyes were filled with loftiness, exuding the aura of a golden-winged great rock. Qin Wentian lifted his palms and pressed down. A moment later, a sword manifested, causing a terrifying collision in the air. The body of the golden bird shone with an even more intense golden light, yet its body was unceasingly penetrated by the sword qi. It turned and wanted to flee, but Qin Wentian grabbed out with his palm, directly grabbing it, causing it to have no way to escape. A group of immortal kings flew over. One of them clasped his hands to Qin Wentian. I'm from the Black Metal Emperor sect and have been pursuing this golden bird for many days. It's just that its speed is too fast and I have no way to catch up to it. To think that you managed to intercept it. Can I request for you to make a deal with me? I will definitely not let you suffer a loss. Black Metal Emperor sect. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. This time around he would pass by a city on his way there, and the Black Metal Emperor sect was one of them. You want to use it to forge weapons? Qin Wentian asked. Seems like you know about my Black Metal Emperor sect. Truth be told, this golden bird is indeed a top-grade material for forging weapons. The young man nodded. Qin Wentian inclined his head and stared at the depths of the forest. He sighed. You guys hunt demonic beasts to forge weapons. From what I know, the demonic beasts here are all controlled by a demon emperor. Aren't you guys worried that the demon emperor would slaughter his way into the human world for revenge? As his cultivation grew stronger, his heart also grew more complicated when he saw the rise of the desolate 10,000 mountain range. Demonic beasts and humans didn't have any intrinsic differences. Demonic beasts were cruel and tyrannical, but weren't humans as greedy and cruel as well? It's already destined that humans and demonic beasts are enemies. There's no way to change this. Even if we don't hunt demonic beasts, the demonic beasts would still come out to hunt humans for food. It's just that both sides don't want to touch each other's bottom line. It's rumored that many greater demons from the desolate 10,000 mountain range have already come out of their mountains and started to wreak havoc in the human world. They want to infiltrate the human world, and right now, countless humans have already died under the hooves of the demonic beasts. Maybe this is an innate enmity. There's no way to change this. That young man spoke. Qin Wentian nodded. It was indeed as the young man had said. The demonic beasts from the desolate 10,000 mountain range have already come out? Qin Wentian stared at the horizons as he mumbled. There's no problem for me to give this demonic beast to you. I don't need to exchange it for anything. Can you introduce some weaponsmiths to me from the Black Metal Emperor sect? I need them to forge a few divine weapons for me. Is that possible? Qin Wentian asked. There's naturally no problem. I will introduce you to the most outstanding weaponsmiths I know to forge divine weapons for you. Since you have this intention, how about we head to the Black Metal Emperor sect together? The young man smiled as he invited. Since Qin Wentian could capture this golden bird, his strength was definitely extraordinary. They had chased after it for so many days, but they still couldn't capture it. Sure. Qin Wentian nodded. Chapter 1444. The Eastern Tomb Immortal City was a major city in the central regions of the Immortal Realms. Although there weren't any peak powers here, there were several Emperor-ranked powers that were extremely powerful. For an immortal city to have several Emperor-ranked powers, this was something only superpowers like the Southern Phoenix Immortal City would have. And in the eastern regions of the Immortal Realms, there were many such cities. In addition, the Eastern Tomb Immortal City didn't belong to any of the peak powers in the central regions. It belonged to an independent faction, and the Emperor-ranked powers were their own rulers. Qin Wentian could clearly see that the Eastern Tomb Immortal City was marked out in the map. There was a lot of information regarding this city. In ancient times, this Eastern Tomb Immortal City was one of the peak powers in the central regions of the Immortal Realms. There was once a supreme expert who established a Tao element here that was known as the Eastern Tomb Holy Hall, ruling over boundless territories and was extremely tyrannical. Up until countless years ago, when the Eastern Tomb Sage Hall was destroyed, this power crumbled. But although this Eastern Tomb Immortal City was greatly weakened, it had never truly fallen to the level of a vassal. Because of its unique history and foundation, even after countless years, this Eastern Tomb Immortal City still retained its glory. In the eastern regions of the Eastern Tomb Immortal City, there was still a remnant of the Eastern Tomb Holy Hall. It was rumored that there was something miraculous about this remnant, and it might even be opened. There were also rumors that the emperor-rank powers in the Eastern Tomb Immortal City were all products left behind by the Eastern Tomb Holy Hall. They were established by the later generations of the Eastern Tomb Holy Hall, and were still stationed here, waiting for the day when the Eastern Tomb Holy Hall would reopen and restore the glory of the ancient era. The Black Metal Emperor sect was located in the Eastern Tomb Immortal City, and was one of the emperor-ranked powers. Their name was weaponsmithing and they had a very long history. In fact, there were many peak powers in the central regions who wanted to recruit them, wanting to make the Black Metal Emperor sect their sole weaponsmithing power. However, none of them succeeded. The Black Metal Emperor sect maintained a good relationship with the other peak powers. As long as people from the peak powers came to request for weaponsmithing, they would definitely agree. Hence, there was a balance between them and the peak powers. At this moment, outside the Black Metal Emperor sect, Qin Wentian arrived together with the young man he met in the demonic beast forest. When he stared at this majestic ancient sect that was forged from golden treasures, he couldn't help but to feel shock in his heart. The Black Metal Emperor sect. It's just that this sect seems extremely ordinary. Qin Wentian spoke in a low voice. Brother Qin, you must be joking. There are great arrays hidden everywhere in this sect. Moreover, many of the buildings themselves are divine weapons. If we encounter an invader, we can use them to defend against the enemy. The young man said with a smile. His name was Feng Zhu and he was also a blacksmith. However, he focused more on cultivation, and his attainments in blacksmithing were not too high. Qin Wentian nodded his head. The group of them then stepped out, entering the Emperor sect. In the immortal realms, experts of the upper echelons mostly pursued strength. Very few of them were willing to spend too much time on weaponsmithing. Hence, there weren't many peak-level weaponsmithing powers. It seems like quite a few people from the Sovereign sect have arrived. Behind him, an immortal king spoke in a light voice. Feng Zhu's eyes flashed. His immortal sense stretched out and he also saw that there were many guests arriving at the Emperor Palace. He couldn't help but feel bewildered. Let's go to Qianshua's place. Feng Zhu spoke. After that, he moved towards a certain direction and not long after, he came to a resplendent white palace. There were many powerful experts here, including immortal kings as guards. Is the Holy Maiden here? Feng Zhu landed on the ground and asked a female immortal king. Yes, I will go and report this. That female immortal king nodded, her words causing Qin Wentian to be curious about Feng Zhu's identity. My younger sister, Feng Qianxue, is the Holy Maiden of the Black Metal Emperor sect. Her status is much higher compared to me. Feng Zhu had a self-mocking smile. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed as he smiled. So this was the case. In the Black Metal Emperor sect, my influence is far inferior compared to my younger sister. I'll get her to personally introduce a weaponsmith to Brother Qin. In that case, many thanks. Qin Wentian spoke. A moment later, a lithe figure in white walked out. Her demeanor was extraordinary and her posture was dignified, exuding a sense of holiness. She was extremely beautiful and when she glanced at Feng Zhu, she involuntarily asked, Big brother, why are you here? Qianxue, let me introduce a friend to you. This is Brother Qin. Before this, our group of people pursued the golden bird but failed. Brother Qin easily captured it and gave it to me. Brother Qin wants to forge a few divine weapons for me, and I promised Brother Qin to introduce a weaponsmith to him. Feng Zhu introduced. Feng Qianxue glanced at Qin Wentian before nodding her head lightly. Big brother, since you obtained the golden bird, let me help you forge a defensive armor. Brother Qin, what grade of divine weapon do you want to forge? My cultivation base is at the mid-stage of the Immortal King realm. It's fine as long as it matches my cultivation base. Qin Wentian replied. That's simple, I can forge it myself. Since this is the case, I will forge it for you myself. Have you thought of the divine weapon and what are your requirements? Feng Qianxue asked. I wish to forge a few divine weapons. I might have to trouble Holy Maiden. Qin Wentian spoke. The first divine weapon is a mask, the second is a set of robes. I only need to conceal my aura, preventing immortal senses from prying into it. Also I need a saber and a sword. If Holy Maiden is willing to help, I will provide you with the rewards. I understand. The first two divine weapons are for concealing your identity, while the last two are for combat. I have no problem with that. As for the payment, since you've helped my elder brother, you only need to provide me with materials of equivalent value, Qin Wentian said. Feng Qianxue nodded lightly. Feng Zhu glanced at Qin Wentian in bewilderment. The first two divine weapons were clearly for the sake of concealing one's identity. Seems like Brother Qin has a powerful enemy. In that case, many thanks, Holy Maiden. Oh yes, Qianxue, why are there so many experts from the Emperor sect here? Did something happen? Feng Zhu asked. Most probably, it's because of the desolate mountain range in the northern regions. The central regions of the immortal realms are close to the other regions, and if the greater demons continue to advance, they would arrive sooner or later. Also, there are some people who wish to temper themselves in the northern regions. They are worried that they might have to face the greater demons. Hence, many experts came here to forge some powerful divine weapons. Feng Qianxue replied. Qin Wentian asked, is the situation in the northern regions very serious? The descent of the desolate mountain range caused the greater demons to evolve. They wanted to enter the human world, but they naturally encountered resistance from the humans. Hence, a great war erupted. The demon kings of the desolate mountain range declared that they want to stand together with the humans in the immortal realms, establishing their Tao in the human world. Feng Qianxue spoke. You should have heard before that the demon kings of the desolate mountain range led greater demons out of the mountain range. Even if the peak powers of the northern regions joined forces, they wouldn't be able to stop them. Seems like the immortal realms are going to be in chaos soon. Feng Zhu mumbled. In the past, the humans of the immortal realms and the desolate mountain range were clearly separated. Although there were many demonic powers in the immortal realms, there weren't many of them. There were only a few peak powers in the western regions of the immortal realms. And now, the greater demons of the desolate mountain range wanted to invade the immortal realms and coexist with the humans. The immortal realms would definitely experience a long period of chaos. Qin Wentian furrowed his brows. The eastern regions were already in chaos, and the atmosphere of the entire immortal realms was a little strange. Now that the desolate mountain range had invaded, Qin Wentian had a feeling that the immortal realms might really enter a period of chaos. If this was the case, he had to increase his strength as fast as possible before he could deal with the changes in the immortal realms. Let's not care about this for now. Brother Qin, my younger sister's weaponsmithing abilities are at the peak. Since she promised to forge a divine weapon for you, she would definitely be able to satisfy your request. Feng Zhu smiled. Qin Wentian could faintly understand that Feng Qianxue's status was extremely high when he saw the immortal kings guarding this place. Holy Maiden Qianxue, I Qin want to make a request. If Holy Maiden feels that it's inappropriate, you can directly reject it. I Qin won't mind. Qin Wentian spoke. Brother Qin, please speak. Can I observe the weaponsmithing process? Qin Wentian asked. He had always firmly believed that the myriad of techniques originated from the same source. Observing the weaponsmithing process might be beneficial to his cultivation. Your request is too excessive. A female immortal king protector coldly spoke. They had only met once and this man actually made such an outrageous request? Every weaponsmithing grandmaster would have their own methods. How would they show it to others so easily? Feng Zhu also felt somewhat awkward. Qin Wentian then spoke. I Qin have crossed the line. My apologies. No worries. Brother Qin, if you wish to observe, you can come with me. Feng Qianxue casually spoke. Holy Maiden. The female immortal king protector hurriedly spoke. This was a great taboo for weaponsmithing. What if Qin Wentian was someone sent by another power? Feng Qianxue waved her hand, causing the female protector to shut up. This caused a strange light to flash in Qin Wentian's eyes. This young woman before him truly had an extraordinary charisma. Just as they were conversing, a group of experts soared through the air and landed here. These experts all exuded extraordinary auras and seemed to be from two different powers. Their eyes were all extremely sharp as they stared at the people below. Qianxue. At the front, an old man called out. Feng Qianxue inclined her head. What's the matter, martial aunt? There are 2 weaponsmithing lists here. Take a look. The old man waved his hands as 2 beams of light landed in Feng Qianxue's hands. She flipped them open and frowned. Martial aunt, you want me to forge them? The sect has already accepted it. Both powers hoped that the most outstanding holy maiden would be the one to forge them. Qianxue, it's more suitable for you to forge them. The old man nodded. Sure, but I need a lot of time. At the very least 6 months. Feng Qianxue replied. 6 months is too long. Immediately put down all other matters and start forging. You have to complete the first list within a month. One of the experts spoke. Their bodies shone with a brilliant light that resembled the sun, extremely dazzling to behold. Our second list also needs to be completed within a month. We can't wait any longer. I'll have to trouble Holy Maiden then. Another group of people spoke as well. Although their tone was more polite, their tone was still extremely domineering. Feng Qianxue furrowed her brows. I've just promised a friend to forge a weapon for me. I will need some time to complete it. Everyone, the forging of these divine weapons will take even longer. Even if I don't sleep or rest, I won't be able to complete it. Just leave your friend's weapon for later, or pass it to someone else. The person on the left continued. That's not too good, right? Feng Qianxue's tone turned cold. These people directly requested for her friend's weapon forging to be delayed. This was too much. Holy Maiden, there's no need to make things difficult for us. Just let him nod his head. That person turned his gaze to Qin Wentian. Sir, we are from the Sacred Sun sect, and we need to forge a divine weapon before heading to the northern regions of the immortal realms. Can you delay the forging of your divine weapon? Qin Wentian inclined his head and stared at these people. No wonder their auras were so similar. As expected, they were from the Sacred Sun sect. Chapter 1445. Qin Wentian glanced at another group of people. Since one of them was from the Sacred Sun sect and the other requested the same treatment, they should be from a peak power as well. From the map, the 2 Empyrean powers closest to the Black Metal Emperor sect, other than the Sacred Sun sect, was the Thunder God Hall. From the auras of these people, they should be experts from the Thunder God Hall. I've already discussed this with the Holy Maiden. Even if I'm willing to delay the forging of the divine weapon, wouldn't you all be making things difficult for the Holy Maiden? Qin Wentian stared at the other party as he calmly asked. This has nothing to do with you. You just need to agree to delay the forging of the divine weapon. The Holy Maiden will naturally consider other matters. That expert from the Sacred Sun sect spoke in a domineering manner. The things they wanted to do naturally had to be more important than anything else. Qin Wentian stared at them as a faint arrogance radiated from him. He then spoke, since you guys don't know what respect is, why should I delay the forging of the divine weapon for you guys? Forgive me for not being able to comply. The other party frowned, feeling somewhat taken aback. Qin Wentian actually directly rejected them? They had already made it very clear that they were from the Sacred Sun sect. Respect. One of them laughed. This man seems to have a mental problem. He actually wants respect before our Sacred Sun sect. Another person laughed, mockingly staring at Qin Wentian. Sir, we are from the Thunder God Hall. It's best if you delay the forging of the divine weapon. The other party spoke. They came here to invite the Holy Maiden to forge a divine weapon, and it wasn't good for them to bully her. Hence, they could only pressure the Holy Maiden from Qin Wentian, hoping that she would be tactful and complete the forging of the divine weapon in the shortest amount of time possible. They didn't have so much time to waste here. Qin Wentian stared at the 2 groups of people. Coldness flashed in his eyes as he spat out a single word, scram. As the sound of his voice faded, it was like thunder. The expressions of the people from the 2 hegemonic powers instantly changed. Even Feng Qianxue's martial uncle frowned as he stared at Qin Wentian in bewilderment. He wanted the people from the Sacred Sun sect and Thunder God Hall to scram? Moreover, the people who had come were all celestial kings. Brother Qin. Feng Zhu transmitted his voiceover, feeling some shock in his heart. Feng Qianxue also stared at Qin Wentian with some surprise in her eyes. They all thought that Qin Wentian would compromise and agree. After all, these were two hegemonic powers. They were too domineering, there was no way they would allow others to reject. Don't say that I'm not giving face to the Black Metal Emperor sect. At this moment a person spoke in a clear voice. He stepped out as the light of the sun manifested in the air, shooting towards Qin Wentian. A terrifying heat radiated from his palms, transforming into a terrifying tempest that churned unceasingly. After that he stepped out again, and in an instant, the entire space around him transformed into a sun furnace, incomparably scorching hot. Boom! A fist punched out, the sun immortal fist directly swept through the air, blasting towards Qin Wentian. The storm was terrifying. The scorching flames destroyed everything, wanting to devour Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's palm stretched out as a thunderous boom rang out. Just when everyone thought that the terrifying attacks would engulf him, Qin Wentian's body actually seemed to be bathed in the holy flames of the sun. No matter how crazily the flames burned, his body was indestructible, like a divinity bathed in divine light. Qin Wentian's palm trembled. In just an instant, a gigantic palm imprint appeared in the air. Millions of runic lights circulated around it, akin to the hand of a divinity, wanting to destroy everything as it instantly appeared before his opponent. That person's expression changed. Numerous suns manifested around him as the experts in the surroundings all unleashed their own energy to resist. A thunderous boom rang out as an incomparably scorching immortal light erupted forth, enveloping this entire area. This caused many people from the Black Metal Emperor sect to turn their gazes over. They only saw a beam of light shooting up into the sky. What's going on? Many people felt their hearts trembling. This aura seemed to indicate that a great battle had erupted. Was there actually someone fighting in the Black Metal Emperor sect? In the battlefield, that person who attacked Qin Wentian was forced back very far as he groaned in misery. In the air, several experts from the Black Metal Emperor sect were all protected by the holy light of the sun. Their eyes gleamed with a scorching light as they stared at Qin Wentian, who was standing arrogantly below. That attack of this person was extremely tyrannical. Even those who were standing at the side could feel the pressure. However, Qin Wentian still stood at his original location, not moving an inch. Don't be arrogant just because you came from the Sacred Sun sect. If not, I will teach you how to conduct yourself. Qin Wentian calmly spoke, domineering and tyrannical, causing the countenance of that person to turn ashen. You dare to speak to me like this? That person's aura surged violently. It was like he had no way to swallow this anger, and wanted to fight against Qin Wentian. As expected, there's something wrong with your brain. Don't antagonize me again, or do you believe that I won't join the Sacred Sun sect after killing you? Qin Wentian stared at that person as he threatened. His words caused that person's expression to change. He coldly snorted, "Do you think the Sacred Sun sect is a place you can join whenever you want to? I can kill you with a single strike. Trash like you can join but I can't? The Sacred Sun sect doesn't want me. In the central regions you are not the only peak power. Do you want to give it a try?" Qin Wentian stepped out. His mid-stage immortal king aura gushed forth ferociously, wanting to sweep over everything. It was like even if it was a battle he wouldn't retreat at all. Alright everyone. Let me ask Qianxue if she has any better ideas. At this moment that person from the Black Metal Emperor sect spoke. Clearly, he didn't want the matter to blow up. This friend of Feng Qianxue seemed to be an extraordinary character, and was extremely tyrannical with extraordinary combat prowess. If they really killed someone from the Sacred Sun sect here, it wouldn't be good for their Black Metal Emperor sect. Qianxue, can you quickly forge these divine weapons? The people from the Sacred Sun sect and the Thunder God Hall are in a rush. That old man spoke as he glanced at Feng Qianxue. Even if I want to prioritize the forging of the divine weapons for the two peak powers, it's still impossible. How about this? Everyone stop arguing. Give me 2 months and I will hand over the divine weapons to all of you. Feng Qianxue spoke. These people from the peak powers were the most difficult to deal with. She could only deal with them first. Everyone, Qianxue is right. After all, it's impossible for us to hand over the divine weapons to all of you. We naturally hope that we can forge the divine weapons to the best effect. The old man stared at the people from the two peak powers. Since this is the case, I will give you face. 2 months it is then. One of the experts spoke. He seemed to be the leader of the Sacred Sun sect, and he calmly glanced at Qin Wentian. Remember this. That expert from the Sacred Sun sect who was forced to retreat earlier stared at Qin Wentian with killing intent in his eyes. The expert from the Thunder God Hall cast a deep glance at Qin Wentian. After that, both parties left together with the old man. Fengzhu sighed. He stared at Qin Wentian. Brother Qin, you truly gave me a fright. These people are from the Sacred Sun sect. You really dared to act against them? My strength isn't inferior to them. There's nothing I wouldn't dare to do. No matter what, these people are all immortal kings. It's already a very embarrassing matter for them to be unable to defeat me. Could it be that they can go to the Sacred Sun sect and ask for reinforcements? Can they and the Sacred Sun sect afford to lose so much face? Qin Wentian casually spoke. That's true. Seems like Brother Qin understands this logic very well. Fengzhu laughed. If Qin Wentian could defeat the people here and not kill them, these people wouldn't have the face to ask for reinforcements. That would be equivalent to slapping their own faces. It's just a minor matter. Qin Wentian didn't mind it. He then continued. It's just that the time limit for Holy Maiden is 2 months too tight. If it's too tight, why don't you focus on forging their weapons first? No worries, we can only delay our cultivation for a few months. I will still help Brother Qin forge your divine weapons first. Brother Qin, there's no need to refer to me as Holy Maiden. Just call me Qianxue. Feng Qianxue smiled. In that case, I will have to thank Qianxue. Qin Wentian nodded. Let's go, I will bring you to my weaponsmithing place to take a look. Big brother, come with me. Feng Qianxue spoke. Fengzhu nodded and the others left. Qin Wentian and the 2 others walked towards the ancient hall. Feng Qianxue first started to collect the materials needed for forging weapons. The ancient hall of the Holy Maiden was like a treasure trove, containing all sorts of precious weaponsmithing materials. After keeping the equipment, Feng Qianxue began to forge the divine weapon. In the weaponsmithing room, the entire great hall was filled with a terrifying fiery formation. When Feng Qianxue circulated the flame energy in her body, the entire great hall lit up with resplendent runes of fire, radiating with boundless brilliance as they flowed towards the weaponsmithing formation. In that instant, the terrifying temperature was so high that it was sufficient to incinerate immortal kings to death. What a terrifying temperature! Qin Wentian spoke. In the center of the formation, numerous divine inscriptions interweaved together to form an illusory weaponsmithing furnace, transforming into a resplendent diagram. The materials used for forging weapons were instantly smelted. In the past, Qin Wentian also knew how to forge weapons. But after that, he spent most of his time on cultivation. With regards to the forging of immortal-ranked weapons, he had never come into contact with it before. Firstly, the intensity of the flames must be high. Qianxue's flames are insufficient. She can only borrow the power of the grand formation in the weaponsmithing hall to strengthen her flames. Only then would she be able to refine the materials. Fengzhu spoke. Qin Wentian nodded, quietly observing Feng Qianxue. Resplendent runic light shone from Feng Qianxue, as she used her immortal sense to form swords. When she was inscribing the divine inscriptions, Qin Wentian discovered that a terrifying sword intent gushed forth from her body. Swishing sounds rang out as dazzling beams of sword light shot out, directly imprinting themselves onto the embryonic sword. Is this the forging attribute of her astral soul? Qin Wentian spoke. Qianxue's astral soul does indeed have the ability to forge. Right now, she can inscribe formations within her body, and is extremely proficient at it. Hence, even if she doesn't have sword attribute energy, she can still forge swords. It's just that in terms of the level of her sword intent, she still needs other materials to make up for it. Qin Wentian's eyes gleamed with sharpness. This was similar to the path he had always been on. The spirit refinement method, heavenly talisman treasured tome, God's hand, all of them had similar abilities. The world is truly vast. There are all sorts of wondrous things. To think that Feng Qianxue actually had such an extraordinary ability. When Qin Wentian was observing Feng Qianxue, the people from the Sacred Sun sect and the Thunder God Hall were together. They sealed off the courtyard and sat together, their expressions extremely unsightly to behold. That person is so brazen and disgraceful. Why don't we act and kill him directly? The immortal king, who was forced back by Qin Wentian earlier, felt that he couldn't swallow this anger. Don't forget why we came here this time around. That immortal king in the lead roared. After the black metal emperor sect submits, you can do whatever you want to that holy maiden. It would be an extremely easy matter to kill that person. When will the people over there act? That immortal king earlier coldly asked. Anytime. At that time we can cooperate and put on a show. If the black metal emperor sect still refuses to submit, we can only use force. With the invasion of the desolate mountain range, the immortal realms will soon be in chaos. As a peak power, we have to unify all the powers in the various regions. Only then would we have the strength to face the storm that the immortal realms would face in the future. Chapter 1446. Several days later, in an elegant courtyard, a sword, a saber, and a set of divine robes were placed before Qin Wentian. In his hands there was a mask which he placed on his face. As astral energy flowed into it, the mask gradually melded into his skin, becoming a perfect fit with his skin. Before Qin Wentian, Feng Zhu and Feng Qianxue stared at Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's countenance changed slightly, exuding a devilishly handsome sense of beauty. As the mask melded into his skin, it gave off a mysterious and blurry feeling. Awesome! Little sister. How did you forge this mask? I have no way to recognize Brother Qin. But he clearly doesn't seem to be wearing a mask, yet he gave off a blurry feeling. Feng Zhu spoke. I used the talisman bone of a sky illusionary beast, as well as the hide of some powerful illusionary beasts. This mask doesn't have any offensive capabilities, but it's most suitable for concealment. Feng Qianxue smiled. So this is the case. No wonder it gave off a strange feeling. You actually made use of treasures from illusionary beasts. This set of divine robes is the same. Other than concealing your aura, it also has a defensive effect. It can meld into your skin and shrink easily, changing according to your body. Feng Qianxue pointed to the robes as she spoke, and Qin Wentian could sense a faint illusory energy emanating from the robes. However, he didn't immediately put it on. Instead, he took out his sword and saber, holding them in both hands as he infused his law energy into them. A moment later, a terrifying energy gushed forth from the sword and saber. I didn't set any law attributes for this divine weapon. After all, we all cultivate different attributes. However, there are many runic arrays imprinted within, allowing it to be compatible with any law attribute energy and amplify one's attack. The sword moves with lightness, the saber wields tyranny. What do you think? Feng Qianxue spoke to Qin Wentian. Very good. Qianxue, I really have to thank you this time around. Qin Wentian spoke with gratitude. The mask and robes were all for the sake of concealing his identity. The sword and saber were for the sake of attacking, and also for the sake of concealing the fact that he had used divine weapons before. In this case, he wouldn't be recognized by others and wouldn't be hunted down by the Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor. By the way, Feng Zhu, Qianxue, please help me keep this a secret, Qin Wentian said to the two of them. Understood. Feng Zhu nodded. He knew that Qin Wentian might have a powerful enemy. Feng Qianxue also nodded. However, those people have seen Brother Qin's real face. Will it be troublesome? Feng Zhu asked. This is simple. Qin Wentian smiled. With a thought, the mask slowly seeped out of his skin. Qin Wentian waved his hand and put it away. He smiled and said, use your original appearance for now. After I leave, you can disguise yourself. This way no one will know. That's true. Feng Zhu smiled. Who? At this moment, Qin Wentian kept his divine weapons. He frowned as he stared into the distance. There were actually people spying on them using their immortal sense. This was an extremely unfriendly act. Feng Qianxue also frowned. After that, a cold voice drifted over. My sacred sun sect came here to ask the Black Metal Emperor sect to forge weapons for you. Yet, the Holy Maiden of the Black Metal Emperor sect actually complained that the time limit we gave was too short. Now, you are actually here enjoying yourself under the moonlight? Why are you so free? I will naturally do what I promised. I will forge the divine weapons you guys need. Sir, don't you think it's a little too much to use your immortal sense to spy on us? Feng Qianshua's beautiful face was covered with frost. This place was the Holy Maiden Manor. There was no need to set up any barriers and no one would dare to use their immortal senses to probe without permission. However, these people from the Sacred Sun sect were truly extremely rude. Let me remind you guys, your opponents are here. That voice coldly snorted. Feng Qianshua furrowed her brows as her immortal sense extended out. After that, she discovered that there were experts flying out from many of the great halls and residences, heading towards a certain direction. Over there, a group of experts could be seen flying over. Qin Wentian's immortal sense extended out. He could also see the group of experts rushing over here. Their auras were all extremely terrifying. All of them were immortal kings. It was extremely rare for an ordinary emperor-ranked power to send out so many immortal kings. It's the Skybell cult, Divine Inscriptions Palace and Vajra sect. Feng Zhu frowned as a strange light flashed in his eyes. The other three emperor-ranked powers of the Eastern Tomb Immortal City? Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. In this ancient city there were 4 emperor-ranked powers. They were the Skybell cult, Divine Inscriptions Palace, Vajra sect and Black Metal Emperor sect. Right now, the other 3 emperor-ranked powers have arrived at the same time. This was extremely unusual. No wonder there were so many immortal kings. There were actually 3 emperor-ranked powers. Are the people of our Black Metal Emperor sect rushing over? Let's go and take a look as well. Feng Zhu spoke. The 3 of them flew over. Feng Qianshua furrowed her brows. Before this, there were some rumors in the Eastern Tomb Immortal City. Seems like this rumor might be true. The other 3 emperor-ranked powers might have betrayed the Eastern Tomb. Not long after, Qin Wentian and the others arrived at the location where the experts were gathered. There were at least several hundred immortal kings here. The lineup was extremely terrifying. The experts from the Sacred Sun sect and Thunder God Hall also arrived. They stood on the 2 sides, as though they were here to watch a show. Holy Maiden Qianshua is here. In the direction of the Skybell cult, a young immortal king stared at Feng Qianshua as his eyes gleamed with sharpness. This Feng Qianshua was extremely famous. In the Eastern Tomb, many immortal kings wanted to subdue her. What do you all mean by this? An old man from the Black Metal Emperor sect spoke, staring at the 3 emperor-ranked powers as he questioned. Let's seal this space first. An expert from the other side spoke. After that, one of them descended from the sky and in an instant, a terrifying beam of light shot up into the clouds. Runic inscriptions shone resplendently as it transformed into an incomparably gigantic golden bell that descended from the sky, enveloping this vast space. That beam of light cascaded down, sealing this entire space. The expressions of the people from the Black Metal Emperor sect turned sharper as they stared at these people. Today we are here to propose marriage. We would like to invite the Saint Child of the Black Metal Emperor sect to marry into our clan, and the Holy Maiden to marry into our clan. An expert from the Divine Inscriptions Palace spoke, his words causing the expressions of the people from the Black Metal Emperor sect to turn incredibly ugly to behold. Saint Child marrying into our clan? Holy Maiden marrying into our clan? Their Black Metal Emperor sect didn't have many saint children and holy maidens. In fact, it could be said that they were extremely rare. All of them had awakened their talents and only they understood what that meant. Yet, the other party actually wanted to capture all of them in one fell swoop. Impossible. The old man from the Black Metal Emperor sect coldly rejected. Although our 4 hegemonic powers have conflicts, we have always been in harmony. By doing this, are you guys trying to seize the foundation of my Black Metal Emperor sect? What are your intentions exactly? I've already said it, right? The old man from the Divine Inscriptions Palace calmly spoke. Our 4 hegemonic powers have obtained the Holy Book from the Eastern Tomb for generations. Although this is considered a secret to the outside world, we are very clear that the people of the Black Metal Emperor sect who can inherit the Holy Book would all have extremely high attainments in weaponsmithing. So what if the saint children and holy maidens of this generation are sent to our 3 hegemonic powers? In the next generation, there would still be many saint children and holy maidens. Holy Book. The eyes of Qin Wentian, who was at the side, flashed. He didn't expect the rumors to be true. The Eastern Tomb Holy Temple of the past, even until now, still had inheritances left behind. Also, among the 4 hegemonic powers, This wasn't considered a secret. All of them were very clear about this secret. You guys are all basking in the radiance of the Eastern Tomb Holy Temple and comprehending the Holy Book. Why are you guys trying to seize the inheritances of my black metal emperor sect? The old man spoke in anger. The eyes of the other experts were all cold as they stared at the old man from the three hegemonic powers. But only the black metal emperor sect is capable of weaponsmithing. An expert from the Divine Inscriptions Palace spoke. What if I don't agree? The old man from the black metal emperor sect spoke. If you don't agree, in that case, from now on, the black metal emperor sect will not be able to touch the inheritance of the Eastern Tomb. The old man from the Vajra sect calmly spoke. That old man had bronze-colored skin and exuded an aura of toughness. His body was like a divine weapon, exuding a sense of imposingness. You guys are going too far. The old man from the black metal emperor sect had a cold expression on his face as his anger radiated forth. Everyone, why must you all be so angry? The four great emperor sects of the Eastern Tomb all originated from the Eastern Tomb Holy Temple. If any of them lost their inheritances, it would be a loss to the Eastern Tomb. Why don't the four great emperor sects of the Eastern Tomb Holy Temple unite and return to the glory of the Eastern Tomb? At this moment, the old man from the Sacred Sun sect calmly spoke, his words causing the other experts to turn their gazes over. It's easier said than done if the Eastern Tomb Holy Temple wants to unite. The four great powers have long been deeply rooted. If we unite them, who would control them? Who would submit? The old man from the black metal emperor sect spoke. I have a suggestion. Why don't we unite the Eastern Tomb Holy Temple, but we won't interfere with each other? Although we belong to the same power, we would still be on equal footing. My Sacred Sun sect and the Thunder God Hall can act as mediators, helping the Eastern Tomb Holy Temple to grow stronger. How about it? The old man from the Sacred Sun sect continued. This suggestion isn't bad. I agree as well. The experts from the Thunder God Hall nodded in agreement. After that, the expressions of the experts from the Black Metal Emperor sect froze. So it turned out that this time around, the people from the Sacred Sun sect and the Thunder God Hall came here for a false request. They came here for the sake of the entire Black Metal Emperor sect. In addition, this time around, the Sacred Sun sect and the Thunder God Hall came to an agreement. If they controlled the Eastern Tomb Holy Temple, they would resist the pressure from the other peak powers and swallow the Eastern Tomb Holy Temple whole. If this is the case, my Skybell cult has no objections. The Divine Inscriptions Palace agrees as well. The Vajra sect agrees. The three hegemonic powers all expressed their stances. The people from the Black Metal Emperor sect all had ashen expressions. So it turned out that they were the only ones left. The other three hegemonic powers had already betrayed the Eastern Tomb and chose to submit. What did the Sacred Sun sect and the Thunder God Hall do exactly to make the other three hegemonic powers submit? One must know that there was a reason why the Eastern Tomb Holy Temple was able to survive until now. If the four hegemonic powers joined forces, they would be able to borrow the strength of the Eastern Tomb Holy Temple. But now, after the other three hegemonic powers submitted, they no longer had any other paths to take. The Black Metal Emperor sect is finished. Qin Wentian silently mused. There was no way to reverse this situation. Seems like the other hegemonic powers have already started to control more powers, making them submit in order to deal with the chaos in the immortal realms. Chapter 1447. The intentions of the Sacred Sun sect and the Thunder God Hall were extremely clear. They wanted to swallow up the Eastern Tomb faction. The Black Metal Emperor sect was the only weaponsmithing power in the Eastern Tomb. It was also the power that attracted the Sacred Sun sect and the Thunder God Hall the most. After all, as a peak power, they didn't lack experts, but weaponsmithing powers were extremely rare. If they could gain control of the Black Metal Emperor sect, it would be extremely beneficial to them in the future. The experts from the Black Metal Emperor sect fell silent. Given the situation, they had no choice but to agree. Why? We don't need the Black Metal Emperor sect to submit. We only want to help the Eastern Tomb faction to unify the Eastern Tomb faction and walk on a stronger path. The Black Metal Emperor sect isn't even willing? The voice of the leader from the Sacred Sun sect turned cold, exerting pressure. This matter is a major matter, We can't make the decision on our own. Our sect leader has always been cultivating outside. If he doesn't return, no one can make this decision. That old man spoke, his words causing the experts from the Sacred Sun sect and the Thunder God Hall to frown. The sect leader of the Black Metal Emperor sect was truly a troublesome character. He rarely appeared in the sect because he wanted to prevent the other peak powers from annexing him. As long as he was outside, he would be able to borrow the power of the Eastern Tomb Sacred Hall. In that case, just tell him to come back and make the decision. The expert from the Skybell cult coldly spoke. The sect leader is like a dragon hiding its head but not its tail. How can we find him? The experts from the Black Metal Emperor sect replied. The people here were all extraordinary characters. Many of them were at the Immortal King realm. They naturally wouldn't be willing to submit to others. Silence filled the air as the atmosphere grew somewhat stifling. Since this is the case, just pretend I didn't say anything. You guys can continue. The eyes of the leader from the Sacred Sun sect gleamed with terrifying sunlight. He glanced at the crowd before retracting his gaze. A moment later, the three experts from the Skybell cult all had cold smiles on their faces. Since this is the case, we can only bring the Saint Child and Holy Maiden of the Black Metal Emperor sect away first. When the sect leader of the Black Metal Emperor sect returns and makes a decision, we can discuss other matters. The Saint Child and Holy Maiden of my Black Metal Emperor sect are the hope of our sect. How can we allow them to be brought away by you guys? That old man coldly snorted. Boom! A bell chime rang out as an expert stepped out. His body was akin to a divine ancient bell. Runic inscriptions circulated around him as the bell chimes rang out. It was like the melody of the great Tao, gushing forth from him, transforming into a powerful pressure that bore down on the experts here. Zhongsu. The eyes of everyone flashed. This person was the Saint Child of the Skybell cult, Zhongsu. He was extremely powerful and had entered the Eastern Tomb Holy Hall before. In that case, I'll have to ask the Holy Sons and Holy Daughters to enlighten me. A voice rang out. In the direction of the Divine Inscriptions Palace and the Vajra sect, cultivators from each sect stepped out. The cultivators from the Divine Inscriptions Palace were covered in runes of the Great Path, faintly transforming into a terrifying grand matrix with boundless might that enveloped all directions. The cultivator from the Vajra sect was like a glaring Vajra. Rings of terrifying Vajra light spread out from his body, emitting incomparably hard clanging sounds that shook everyone's eardrums. The Divine Inscription Palace's Xiao Yu and the Vajra sect's Fa Nu. The expressions of the people from the Black Metal Emperor sect were extremely ugly to behold. These three people who stepped out were all extremely powerful, and were said to be the most outstanding geniuses of the Eastern Tomb faction. They were all Saint Children characters from the various sects and clans. Since the Black Metal Emperor sect thinks too highly of themselves and disdains to unify with us, we can only request for a battle. Xiao Yu coldly spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, runic light enveloped the area, transforming into a gigantic cauldron that could suppress everything. The three hegemonic powers came together and clearly had more experts. The other party only sent out 3 people, clearly wanting to give the Black Metal Emperor sect a chance. If it was a group battle, the Black Metal Emperor sect would have no hope at all. But these 3 people were the most outstanding Immortal King geniuses of the 3 hegemonic powers. If they wanted to fight, they naturally had to send out people at the same level as them. It would be very difficult for them to win. The combat prowess of these 3 people seems to be very powerful, and they all cultivate the same Tao as me, using runic inscriptions to break through to the Immortal King realm. Also, their comprehensions on this path are extremely deep. Qin Wentian glanced at the 3 of them. He could sense how terrifying their combat prowess was. Ordinary Immortal Kings on the same level wouldn't be able to win against them. At this moment, a figure from the Black Metal Emperor sect stepped out. Terrifying law runes circulated around him. His entire person was like an unsheathed sword, exuding a fearsome killing intent. In that case, let me capture you first. Zhongsu smiled at the person who walked out. After that, he soared up into the air. That Saint Child from the Black Metal Emperor sect also followed after him. Their auras clashed against each other in the air, causing a resplendent light to shine from the collision. The bell chimes shook the heavens and earth. Zhongsu spat out an ancient bell, causing sound waves that swept over the area, wanting to destroy everything. The people of my black metal emperor sect are proficient in weaponsmithing, but our combat prowess is a little lacking. Isn't it a little too overboard for the three hegemonic powers to challenge us? That old man from the black metal emperor sect coldly spoke. We are all from the Eastern Tomb faction. Since you all admit that you are incapable, you should be eliminated. An immortal king Saint Child from the Divine Inscriptions Palace tyrannically spoke. The expressions of the people from the black metal emperor sect turned incredibly ugly to behold. Another Saint Child stepped out, soaring up into the air. Humph! Xiao Yu coldly laughed. He soared up into the air, flying towards his opponent. Fa Nu of the Vajra sect was the only one left. No one dared to fight him. Fa Nu's cultivation base was at the mid-stage of the Immortal King realm, and his combat prowess was extremely terrifying. He was an extremely famous Immortal King character in the entire Eastern Tomb Immortal City. Let me do it. Feng Qianxue stepped out, soaring up into the air. Fa Nu inclined his head as a golden light radiated from him. Against Holy Maiden Qianxue, I will naturally show mercy. After speaking, he soared up into the air and directly punched out. This punch transformed into a ferocious Vajra Law King, capable of suppressing everything. With a lift of his palm, he blasted out towards Feng Qianxue, enveloping the entire space. Qin Wentian stared at the three battlefields in the air. He only saw the three major powers unleashing their law domains, causing a stifling pressure to weigh down on them. Their bodies shone with runic light, akin to a grand formation, exuding boundless might. For these three battles, the Black Metal Emperor sect most probably didn't have the advantage at all. Their opponents were the most outstanding experts from the three major powers. They naturally had the advantage. Among the three opponents, Fa Nu of the Vajra sect was the most terrifying. A law domain manifested behind him, enveloping the entire space. A single glance from him could shoot out golden runic lightning, akin to a lightning formation, capable of destroying everything. With a single breath, he could spit out terrifying ancient runic characters, capable of suppressing everything. With a single punch, he could manifest a formation lion, its roar shaking the heavens and earth, capable of shattering mountains and rivers. Although Feng Qianxue's strength was also very strong, she was still in danger when facing Fa Nu's attacks. She wasn't strong enough to fight against him. Finally, runic light appeared beneath Fa Nu's feet. He soared through the air and blasted out with a palm strike, containing a supreme might of Vajra. Feng Qianxue did her best to defend, but she was still suppressed. She coughed out blood as her body fell from the air. Qianxue. Feng Zhu soared into the air. Hold it right there. An expert from the Vajra sect coldly snorted. A golden palm appeared in the air, blocking Feng Zhu's path. Bang! A thunderous boom rang out as the golden palm was directly shattered. A figure akin to a great rock soared through the air with extreme speed, directly catching Feng Qianxue. At the same time, he blasted out a palm imprint that collided with Fa Nu's golden palm. A thunderous boom shook the entire space. Qin Wentian borrowed the momentum and retreated to the direction of the Black Metal Emperor sect. He stared at Feng Qianxue and asked, "Are you all right?" "I'm fine." Feng Qianxue's countenance was pale, and there were traces of blood at the corner of her lips. "It's that person again." Killing intent flashed in the eyes of the expert from the Sacred Sun sect who was forced back by Qin Wentian earlier. This person seems to be an outsider. Today, this matter concerns the secret of the Eastern Tomb faction. Since he participated in it, how should the Black Metal Emperor sect deal with him? The expert from the Black Metal Emperor sect stared at Qin Wentian in bewilderment. He didn't expect Qin Wentian's speed to be so fast. His movement technique was like a golden-winged great rock, quick to the extreme. There's actually an outsider who dares to interfere in the matters of the Eastern Tomb faction. Should we kill him or not? The expert from the Sacred Sun sect spoke domineeringly, his tone cold. The matters of the Eastern Tomb faction have nothing to do with your Sacred Sun sect and the Thunder God Hall. Why are you guys sitting here? According to your words, should we kill him or not? Qin Wentian replied. Impudent. That expert from the Sacred Sun sect stepped out, causing the earth to be engulfed in flames, terrifying to the extreme. Everyone understood Qin Wentian's words. including the experts from the Black Metal Emperor sect. But even they didn't dare to say it out loud. Although they knew that Qin Wentian actually dared to say it out loud, he was simply courting death. This person insulted my Sacred Sun sect. Is he someone from your Black Metal Emperor sect? That expert in the lead didn't even look at Qin Wentian. He directly stared at the old man from the Black Metal Emperor sect. That old man stared at Qin Wentian, feeling a little troubled. An outsider dares to interfere in the matters of this place? Your Black Metal Emperor sect can handle this yourself and give us an explanation. That expert from the Sacred Sun sect was incomparably tyrannical, threatening the Black Metal Emperor sect, wanting them to act against Qin Wentian. He isn't an outsider. At this moment Feng Qianxue spoke, her words causing everyone to turn to look at her. Only to see Feng Qianxue hugging onto Qin Wentian's arm as she leaned against him. He is the person I love. He would naturally be angry when he saw me injured. You guys want to punish him? Could it be that I don't allow him to refute? Qin Wentian's eyes flashed, but he didn't say anything. The Sacred Sun sect and the Thunder God Hall were so domineering, wanting to capture the Saint Child and Holy Maiden of the Black Metal Emperor sect. Right now, the Black Metal Emperor sect seemed to be in a desperate situation. As the sound of Feng Qianxue's voice faded, many gazes filled with killing intent turned to Qin Wentian. There were many people from the three hegemonic powers who were interested in Feng Qianxue. When they saw this outstanding immortal king maiden actually throwing herself into someone else's embrace, they couldn't help but feel jealousy and hatred for Qin Wentian. Everyone, how about giving my Black Metal Emperor sect a month's time? We will report this to our sect leader. That old man helplessly spoke. A month's time is too long. 7 days. I need a reply. That expert from the Sacred Sun sect coldly spoke. Fine, 7 days it is then. That old man helplessly nodded. Okay. Since this is the case, we will wait here for 7 days. Everyone can return first. That expert from the Sacred Sun sect spoke to the experts from the three hegemonic powers. Fa Nu and the other experts from the Sacred Sun sect coldly glanced at Qin Wentian, radiating killing intent. Fa Nu transmitted his voice. 7 days later, we will take your dog life. After speaking, he turned and departed. The experts from the three hegemonic powers also departed. Chapter 1448. After the three hegemonic powers left, the experts from the Sacred Sun sect and Thunder God Hall still remained here, having no intentions to leave. The leader from the Sacred Sun sect spoke. You guys quickly report this to the sect leader. We only have 7 days. After speaking, they left as well. However, they didn't leave the Black Metal Emperor sect. Instead, they stayed in the residence where the Black Metal Emperor sect hosted them, monitoring the movements of the sect. Returned to the Black Metal Great Hall for a discussion. It wasn't convenient for the old man in the air to say too much here. After that, everyone started to move out. The Black Metal Great Hall was the discussion hall of the Black Metal Emperor sect. Ordinary characters weren't allowed to enter. At this moment, Qin Wentian and the upper echelons of the Black Metal Emperor sect entered the Great Hall. The expressions of the experts here were all heavy and solemn. Feng Qianxue and Feng Zhu stood beside Qin Wentian. Feng Qianxue transmitted her voice. Brother Qin, this matter originally had nothing to do with you. I'm sorry for making use of you earlier. Don't worry about it, it's just an expedient measure. In any case, they were the ones who wanted to deal with me. You said that so that they wouldn't have a reason to act against me. Qin Wentian casually replied. Feng Qianxue's beautiful eyes glanced at Qin Wentian, but she didn't say anything. Qianxue, is this man really your Dao companion? Why don't we know about this? The old man in the lead was none other than the Grand Elder of the Black Metal Emperor sect. He stared at Feng Qianxue as he asked. Grand Elder, Brother Qin only happened to pass by the Black Metal Emperor sect and asked me to forge a weapon for him. Before this, I spoke nonsense and had no choice but to do so. Grand Elder, please don't blame me. Feng Qianxue spoke. I see. The Grand Elder nodded. He then stared at Qin Wentian. Speaking of which, this is a matter of our Black Metal Emperor sect and has nothing to do with you. Now that you want to leave, the Sacred Sun sect and the Thunder God Hall wouldn't spare you. Even if you wanted to leave, you wouldn't be able to. I'm sorry. Don't worry about it. This is my own choice. Senior, there's no need to be so polite. Qin Wentian shook his head. In the future you have to be more careful. The people from the Sacred Sun sect and the Thunder God Hall have a strong killing intent towards you. The Grand Elder reminded. After that, he glanced at everyone. This time around, we didn't expect that the 3 hegemonic powers of the Eastern Tomb faction have already submitted. Seems like this time around, our Black Metal Emperor sect won't be able to escape this calamity. Even if we seek the sect leader's help, we might not be able to reverse the situation. Our Eastern Tomb faction has received the inheritance of the Eastern Tomb Holy Hall, and has existed independently until now. Now that we are forced to submit to them, I'm afraid it wouldn't be long before they split us apart and take over the Eastern Tomb Holy Hall. Everything would have nothing to do with us and we would only become their tools. An immortal king spoke. Everyone nodded. They understood the situation they were in. I'm not willing to submit to you. Another immortal king spoke. The great elder glanced at the surroundings. The vast majority of immortal kings were unwilling to submit. After all, immortal kings all had their own pride. You guys can speak freely. I will report your attitudes to the sect leader, and let him and the supreme elders decide. The old man spoke again when he saw that there were still people who didn't speak. He needed to know the opinions of everyone in the Black Metal Emperor sect. After everyone finished speaking, the great elder waved his hand. All of you can return. I will naturally inform you all once I have an answer. Yes. The experts all retreated, feeling heavy in their hearts. The pressure from the Sacred Sun sect and the Thunder God Hall was so heavy that it was hard for them to breathe. Qin Wentian left with Feng Qianxue and Feng Zhu. On the way back, he asked, "What secrets does the Eastern Tomb Holy Hall have? Since you have already participated in it, there's no harm in me telling you. The Eastern Tomb Holy Hall is a transcendent power of the ancient era. Later on, it declined and was gradually forgotten in the river of time. However, the inheritance of the Eastern Tomb Holy Hall has always existed in the Eastern Tomb Immortal City. Right now there are 4 emperor-ranked powers. In the past, although there were conflicts between the 4 powers, the Eastern Tomb Holy Hall was able to unite against external enemies and protect the Eastern Tomb Holy Hall, preventing others from seizing the inheritance. If the Eastern Tomb Holy Hall joined forces, even the peak powers of the central regions would have to pay a heavy price if they wanted to forcefully seize the inheritance. Hence, my Eastern Tomb Holy Hall managed to survive until now. Feng Qianxue slowly spoke. However, this day has finally arrived. After so many years, has there never been a peak-level expert from the Eastern Tomb Holy Hall? Qin Wentian was puzzled. How can it be so easy to produce a peak-level expert? Also, I heard that there were some extremely powerful existences that appeared before, but they were all assassinated. Those peak powers wouldn't allow the Eastern Tomb Holy Hall to grow too strong, or they wouldn't be able to control it. Feng Qianxue bitterly smiled. Actually, everyone knows that it isn't easy to maintain the balance for so many years. Eventually, the balance would be broken. They have to gain control of the inheritance of my Black Metal Emperor sect and the Eastern Tomb Holy Hall. The chaos in the desolate mountains seems to have strengthened their resolve. What is there in the Eastern Tomb Holy Hall? Qin Wentian curiously asked. Holy books, holy wills, holy weapons, and what else? I'm not sure. Feng Qianxue's voice was solemn. Her beautiful eyes stared into the distance, filled with reverence and yearning towards that holy place. It's rumored that in ancient times, there were many saints in the Eastern Tomb Holy Hall. They have already transcended mortality and achieved the great Tao. The power they left behind can be passed down for 100 generations. Feng Qianxue mumbled. What's the cultivation realm of a saint? Qin Wentian was somewhat curious. I don't know. Maybe the saint realm is similar to the ancient emperors in our immortal realms. In any case, they are existences that have surpassed the emperor's scriptures. As for what realm they are at, I have no idea. Feng Qianxue replied. According to the rumors in the outside world, the Eastern Tomb Holy Mountain is no more than an ordinary mountain range. The Eastern Tomb Holy Hall is only a legendary place. However, the Eastern Tomb Holy Hall seems to have always existed and isn't a legend. In that case, why doesn't the people of the world know about it? Qin Wentian asked again. The Holy Mountain opens due to fate. How would ordinary people have the chance to see it? Unless someone forcefully broke it open. There's a saying in my sect that the Eastern Tomb Holy Hall is already extremely unstable. If we forcefully break it open, the Eastern Tomb Holy Hall might collapse and become a place of the past. Feng Qianxue continued. This matter caused a sense of unease to appear in her heart. Qin Wentian didn't continue asking. He returned to his residence and instructed, recuperate well. Feng Qianxue nodded. Although her injuries weren't light, given her cultivation base, she could recover very quickly. In the blink of an eye, 7 days passed. The time agreed upon by the Black Metal Emperor sect had arrived. Today the 3 emperor-ranked powers of the Eastern Tomb Immortal City arrived, exuding an imposing aura. Their auras were extremely tyrannical. The experts from the Sacred Sun sect and Thunder God Hall also moved out. This time around they directly surrounded the Black Metal Great Hall of the Black Metal Emperor sect, not giving the Black Metal Emperor sect any chance. The Grand Elder of the Black Metal Emperor sect stood on the stone steps leading to the Eastern Tomb Holy Hall. He stared at the experts who arrived and spoke. The sect leader has given an order, telling the people of my Black Metal Emperor sect to head to the Eastern Tomb. He will appear there and give everyone a conclusion. Head to the Eastern Tomb? The expressions of the experts from the 3 powers stiffened. During these 7 days, the 3 powers sent their immortal senses to monitor the movements of the Black Metal Emperor sect. Not only for the Black Metal Emperor sect, the entire Eastern Tomb Immortal City was under surveillance. However, they didn't see any traces of the sect leader of the Black Metal Emperor sect. Only the 2 supreme elders returned. The experts from the Sacred Sun sect and Thunder God Hall frowned as they spoke in an unfriendly tone. What does the Black Metal Emperor sect intend to do? This is the sect leader's intention. I'm helpless as well. The Grand Elder shrugged. Fine, let's head to the Eastern Tomb then. The leader from the Sacred Sun sect coldly snorted. Let's move out. The expert from the Thunder God Hall spoke. After that, a group of experts moved out, heading towards the Eastern Tomb. The Eastern Tomb was located to the east of the Eastern Tomb Immortal City. Right now, the Eastern Tomb Holy Mountain was extremely desolate. It was hard to imagine that such an ordinary mountain could be called a holy mountain. Many experts arrived here, including Qin Wentian. He stared at the Eastern Tomb, staring at the simple and unadorned holy ground. There was nothing strange about it. Several killing intents circulated around him. Qin Wentian knew that there were some people who wanted his life. His eyes flashed with coldness as well. Where is the Black Metal Sword Emperor? The expert from the Sacred Sun sect impatiently asked. The sect leader of this generation of the Black Metal Emperor sect was known as the Black Metal Sword Emperor. The sect leader is already here. The Grand Elder of the Black Metal Emperor sect spoke. Are you playing with me? The aura of the expert from the Sacred Sun sect surged violently as he coldly rushed out. The Grand Elder shook his head. Abruptly, a resplendent light radiated from that ordinary-looking holy mountain. Beams of light shot out from the mountain and gradually, an incomparably resplendent radiance appeared. At the same time, a terrifying sword chi also appeared. Rumble! An extremely powerful sword might gushed forth, causing the mountains to crumble and the earth to shatter. At this instant many people couldn't even open their eyes. That holy light was simply too bright, causing the entire mountain range to tremble. Within that holy light, an ancient mountain actually appeared. That was none other than the Eastern Tomb. Qin Wentian covered his eyes with his arms as he stared at the holy light. This should be the true Eastern Tomb Holy Mountain, right? The Eastern Tomb appeared. It was unknown how vast it was, incomparably majestic, blocking the path ahead as though it was connected to the heavens. Black Metal Sword Emperor. Numerous gazes turned to a figure. In the air, a middle-aged expert stood there with arrogance, like an emperor of the mortal world. You actually broke the balance of the Eastern Tomb. The experts from the Skybell cult roared in rage. Black Metal Sword Emperor, how can you come out from the Eastern Tomb? You have been hiding here all this while. Have you gone mad? Are you trying to sever the inheritance of the Eastern Tomb? The experts from the Vajra sect also roared in rage. Shut up. That figure waved his hand as a supreme sword intent slashed out. With a light wave, the body of an immortal king was directly sliced into 2, instantly slain. In an instant, all the experts here were as silent as cicadas in winter. All of them were trembling uncontrollably. We pay our respects to the sect leader. The expert from the black metal sword sect bowed. He didn't expect that their sect leader had always been hiding in the Eastern Tomb. Back then when the Eastern Tomb opened, I already had a premonition that the inheritance of the Eastern Tomb would come to an end. I sealed myself within the Eastern Tomb, comprehending the heavenly Tao of the Holy Book. If I don't succeed in my Tao, I won't leave the Eastern Tomb and naturally wouldn't destroy it. The next time the Eastern Tomb opens, I might be able to come out or I might not. The Black Metal Sword Emperor slowly spoke. He then continued, "It's just that I didn't expect that I would use such a method to forcefully break out of the Eastern Tomb, breaking the inheritance of the Eastern Tomb. Since this is the case, let's allow the Eastern Tomb to undergo its final inheritance." After speaking, the radiance on the Black Metal Sword Emperor's body was released to the extreme. The wind and clouds howled as 10,000 swords moved with the clouds, flowing through the sky. Very soon, the entire sky above the Eastern Tomb Immortal City was filled with his sword intent. The Eastern Tomb has opened, the Holy Book has entered the world. If you want to view the Holy Book, you can come to the Eastern Tomb. A voice rang out. The voice of the Black Metal Sword Emperor rang out through the entire Immortal City. Eastern Tomb, the Holy Book has entered the world. The legendary Eastern Tomb actually exists? At this moment, countless people inclined their heads and stared at the sky. When they sensed the sword intent flowing through the air, their hearts trembled unceasingly. Let's go to the Eastern Tomb. Countless figures flashed as they flew towards the direction of the Eastern Tomb. For the Skybell cult, Divine Inscription's Palace and Vajra sect, there were many experts who inclined their heads and stared at the sky. Their eyes were like sharp swords that were unsheathed. They didn't expect the Black Metal Sword Emperor to be so ruthless, vanishing for so many years and actually sealing himself within the Eastern Tomb to comprehend the Holy Book. Stepping out, they all soared through the air, rushing towards the direction of the Eastern Tomb. Seems like the Black Metal Sword Emperor had no intentions of submitting. The plans of the Sacred Sun sect and the Thunder God Hall would definitely fail. Is the inheritance of the Eastern Tomb going to be severed? They sighed in their hearts. The Black Metal Sword Emperor had opened the final inheritance. Chapter 1449. Black Metal Sword Emperor, you actually severed the inheritance of the Eastern Tomb. You will be a sinner for all eternity. A voice filled with rage rang out, reverberating in the ears of everyone. When you all betrayed the Eastern Tomb and submitted to them, the Eastern Tomb bloodline has already ceased to exist. I'm a sinner, what do you all count as? The Black Metal Sword Emperor calmly spoke, his sword intent still circulating around the area. Black Metal Sword Emperor, do you want the Black Metal Emperor sect to be annihilated? An expert from the Thunder God Hall was incomparably enraged. Firstly, they wanted to control the Black Metal Emperor sect. Secondly, they wanted to obtain the Eastern Tomb. In addition, the latter was more important. But now, this Black Metal Sword Emperor actually wanted to destroy everything. The Black Metal Sword Emperor glanced at the person who spoke. His eyes gleamed with a terrifying sword light as a beam of sword intent shot out from his eyes. That expert screamed in pain as his eyes were directly blinded. From now onwards, the Black Metal Emperor sect will be disbanded. Everyone leave the sect immediately. The Black Metal Sword Emperor's voice rang out through the air, echoing through the entire Eastern Tomb Immortal City. At this moment, the hearts of everyone in the Black Metal Emperor sect trembled. Many experts stared at the sky and sobbed. Their sect leader actually announced the disbandment of their sect. The expressions of the experts from the Sacred Sun sect, Thunder God Hall and the other three hegemonic powers finally changed, becoming incomparably unsightly. They didn't expect the Black Metal Sword Emperor to be so decisive, wanting to destroy everything and disband the Black Metal Emperor sect. In this case, they wouldn't be able to obtain anything. Not only would the inheritance of the Eastern Tomb be destroyed, the Black Metal Emperor sect that could forge weapons for them would also cease to exist. Either the fish dies or the net splits. A voice rang out in the hearts of many. Feng Qianxue stood there, staring at the air as she sighed silently in her heart. Qin Wentian stood beside her, inclining his head to stare at that supreme figure. This was the determination of the Sword Emperor. How could immortal emperors be so simple? They would submit so easily and allow others to control them. They would rather give up everything than to allow the Sword Emperor to have his way. The Sacred Sun Sect and Thunder God Hall are both peak powers. I hope you won't vent your anger on the people of my disbanded sect. If you do such a thing, it would definitely damage the face of your two peak powers. Also, I will definitely kill everyone in this city. Even if I die, I won't regret it. The Black Metal Emperor sect coldly threatened. At the same time, 3 streams of sword intent flowed in the air, descending towards the Sky Bell cult, Divine Inscriptions Palace and Vajra sect, enveloping them completely. It was like as long as he willed it, the sword intent would be able to devour everything. Black Metal Sword Emperor, why did you do this? The sect leader of the Sky Bell cult descended. He was an old man, and although he was very old, his steps were steady. Each step he took would cause the heavens and earth to tremble as bell chimes shook the sky. Around the Black Metal Sword Emperor, numerous ancient bells actually appeared. A terrifying vibrational force blasted out, but the Black Metal Sword Emperor still stood there proudly. His sword intent completely shattered the bell chimes. Why did I do this? The Black Metal Sword Emperor waved his hand, radiating boundless sword intent. He then spoke, all of you should understand in your hearts that if you submit, your Emperor sect would no longer be an Emperor sect. The Eastern Tomb faction would also be severed, becoming a vassal force. Since this is the case, what's the point of having the Eastern Tomb faction? Why don't you disband your Emperor sect and sever the Eastern Tomb faction? The 3 of you are the true sinners. Since this is the case, I can only kill you. The Skybell cult leader roared in rage. The heavens and earth trembled as boundless runic light flashed, shooting towards the Eastern Tomb sacred mountain. In an instant, the sacred mountain seemed to be resonating with him. After that, boundless runic light radiated forth, incomparably dazzling as a gigantic ancient bell broke through the air, flying towards the Sky Bell cult leader. The Divine Inscriptions Palace Lord also condensed ancient seals. Boundless runic inscriptions rained down on the area as a bright light descended from the sky. In the middle of the Eastern Tomb sacred mountain, a chessboard appeared and flew towards him. The sect leader of the Vajra sect let out a roar of rage. Boundless golden runic light flashed on the Eastern Tomb sacred mountain as an incomparably gigantic Vajra law incarnation flew towards the sect leader, enveloping him and exuding boundless might. Is this the confidence of the Eastern Tomb faction? Qin Wentian's heart trembled when he saw this. They could actually borrow the energy from the Eastern Tomb. In addition, regardless of the ancient bell, chessboard or incarnation, all of them were terrifying emperor-ranked weapons. Where's your sword? The Sky Bell cult leader roared at the Black Metal Sword Emperor. I am the sword. The Black Metal Sword Emperor calmly spoke. Boundless runic light radiated from him as his body actually turned translucent. Faintly, a supreme sharp sword could be seen flickering in and out of existence within his body. In the air, light cascaded downwards. Within this boundless astral light, numerous swords could be seen whistling through the air, causing the hearts of the spectators to tremble. Astral light. Although immortal emperors and immortal kings are on the same level, their strength cannot be mentioned in the same breath. They are no longer on the same level. Qin Wentian mumbled when he saw this scene. Such a sword intent, if there was no one protecting it, it could easily kill immortal kings effortlessly. Rumble. Only to see that at this moment the color of the sky changed. Numerous violet lightning dragons could be seen in the sky, as though doomsday had arrived. The immortal emperors from the Thunder God Hall have arrived. In another location, numerous suns appeared in the sky. The sun flames that could incinerate everything were so close, enveloping this entire space, capable of easily incinerating people to death. The immortal emperors from the Sacred Sun sect have arrived. Since these 2 hegemonic powers wanted to annex the Eastern Tomb faction, how could there not be immortal emperors present? It's just that they have been hiding in the shadows and didn't show themselves. They were immortal emperors from peak powers and had high statuses. It was already sufficient for them to allow immortal kings to speak directly with the Black Metal Emperor sect. But now the Black Metal Sword Emperor actually acted so ruthlessly and decisively, not leaving any leeway. This was out of everyone's expectations. Too terrifying. Countless people gathered before the eastern tomb Saint Mountain as great waves of shock rose in their hearts. This entire boundlessly vast sky and earth was now showing signs of doomsday. If these people didn't hold back and started a war, this entire space would be destroyed, turning into ruins. Even if it were a powerful being of the immortal king state, they would still feel their hearts trembling at this moment. Sacred Sun Sect and Thunder God Hall, both of you won't be able to obtain anything now. Do you still want to continue fighting? The Black Metal Sword Emperor calmly spoke, his voice as sharp as a sword. Black Metal Sword Emperor, do you still want to live after making such a decision? An immortal emperor from the Thunder God Hall coldly spoke. That would depend on your strength. The Black Metal Sword Emperor faced several immortal emperors, but he still stood arrogantly in the air. He stared at everyone below and spoke, "Today, I will sever the inheritance of the Eastern Tomb. However, I still have one last chance. Everyone in the Eastern Tomb Immortal City can enter the sacred mountain and comprehend the holy book. I will allow everyone to enter, including those from the Thunder God Hall and Sacred Sun Sect. You guys are not to interfere as well. How about it? That would depend on whether you have the strength to do so." An immortal emperor from the Sacred Sun Sect coldly spoke. If they could directly kill the Black Metal Sword Emperor, why would they need to allow others to enter the Eastern Tomb? The Black Metal Sword Emperor didn't say anything more. In the air, boundless sword light gushed forth, gushing towards the 5 immortal emperors. In just an instant, the entire space was filled with a destructive sword intent. That immortal emperor from the Sacred Sun Sect coldly snorted. The sun flames incinerated everything, protecting his body. The sword river unceasingly slammed into him, but he didn't move an inch. However, at this moment, the Black Metal Sword Emperor pointed out with a finger. Within the sword river, a supreme sword intent suddenly manifested. This sword intent gently pierced through the holy sunlight, directly drilling into it. At this instant, the immortal emperor from the Sacred Sun Sect turned pale with fright. He hurriedly retreated as the sun flames grew even more terrifying. Poochie! A light sound rang out. He roared in rage as one of his arms was directly severed, causing blood to flow unceasingly. The other immortal emperors felt their hearts trembling. The Black Metal Sword Emperor seemed to have grown even stronger. During these years, he sealed himself in the Eastern Tomb and must have comprehended many things. I'll ask one more time. No matter who it is from the Eastern Tomb other than us, everyone can enter the Eastern Tomb. If you all have any objections, I will start a massacre. None of your people can even think about entering. The Black Metal Sword Emperor spoke arrogantly. Do you all agree? The expressions of the immortal emperors turned unsightly. So many immortal emperors were actually threatened by a single Black Metal Sword Emperor. However, given the might of the Black Metal Sword Emperor's attack earlier, even if they could defeat him, they would need time to kill him. And during this period of time, the Black Metal Sword Emperor would definitely be able to kill all of them. Right. The immortal emperor from the Sacred Sun Sect nodded. We agree. The immortal emperors all agreed. It was already sufficient as long as their people could enter the Eastern Tomb. You guys can go ahead. The Black Metal Sword Emperor spoke to the immortal emperors below. A moment later, the immortal emperors all rushed over. Many people of the Eastern Tomb had only heard of the legend of the Eastern Tomb but had never seen it before. Now that the legend of the Eastern Tomb was right before their eyes, how could they not enter? Numerous figures flashed. Feng Qianxue was still staring at the Black Metal Sword Emperor in the air, feeling a little worried. Let's go. Qin Wentian spoke in a low voice. Feng Qianxue's worry was useless. She wouldn't be of any help at all. Stepping out, Feng Qianxue and Qin Wentian walked towards the Eastern Tomb together. The Eastern Tomb shone with an incomparably holy light. When they stepped on the ancient path, they could faintly sense a mysterious energy radiating from it. There's someone following us. Qin Wentian spoke in a low voice. Not only for them, many immortal kings from the Black Metal Sword Sect were being followed by experts from the various major powers after they entered the Eastern Tomb. Among them, there were quite a few who were staring at Qin Wentian and Feng Qianxue. For example, the immortal kings of the Sacred Sun Sect, as well as the immortal kings who were defeated by Qin Wentian back then, as well as Fa Nu from the Vajra sect. His eyes were extremely terrifying as he stared in Qin Wentian's direction. Waves of pressure bore down on Qin Wentian and the others. He no longer bothered to conceal it. Let's go. Qin Wentian increased his speed, pulling Feng Qianxue and Feng Zhu along with him. The shadow of a great rock appeared as he unleashed his movement technique, incomparably swift and violent. Do you think you can escape? The immortal king from the Sacred Sun sect roared as he stepped forward. Does the Black Metal Sword Emperor think that letting you guys in would be of any use? Since you entered the Eastern Tomb, you will still be nothing but dead souls under my hands. Let me send you guys off from the afterlife. Fa Nu from the Vajra sect spoke, his voice filled with imposingness. Chapter 1450. The Eastern Tomb was mysterious and vast. Qin Wentian increased his speed, resembling a true great rock, soaring through the skies as he sped towards the Eastern Tomb. In many directions, the experts from the Sacred Sun sect also sped forward. The three of you go and kill them, the leader of the Sacred Sun sect commanded, selecting 3 experts to chase after Qin Wentian and the others. Reverend Fa Nu, let's go together. That person spoke to Fa Nu. Given Fa Nu's strength in addition to the 3 mid-stage immortal kings, it shouldn't be a problem for them to kill Qin Wentian and the others. Right? Fa Nu nodded. His eyes were golden and extremely sharp. He glanced at the fleeing people, especially at Feng Qianxue, as a look of greed flashed in his eyes. Feng Qianxue, the holy maiden of the Black Metal Emperor sect. She was a combination of beauty and talent. As for him, Fa Nu, he was the Vajra saint child of the Vajra sect. His strength was extraordinary, but he always felt that he was lacking something. If he could obtain Feng Qianxue and make her his female slave, his title as the Vajra saint child would be much more perfect. In addition, the Vajra sect still had a secret art. If he could obtain Feng Qianxue and Qin Wentian, he might as well use it to test it out. Brother Qin, if you bring the 2 of us along, your speed will be delayed too much. Why don't we split up? I don't want to implicate you. Feng Zhu's strength was on the weaker side, even inferior to his younger sister Feng Qianxue. Now that they were being pursued, he would clearly be a burden. Don't worry about it. Qin Wentian spoke. They continued deeper into the Eastern Tomb. The spread of the great rock's wings could cover a distance of 100 miles, reaching an inconceivably fast speed. This Eastern Tomb is truly unfathomable. Qin Wentian silently mused. Vile creature, I already said that I would come back 7 days later to send you off. You still want to flee? Fa Nu roared. His voice was like thunder, echoing through the heavens and earth, ringing out in the ears of Qin Wentian and the others. Fa Nu's strength was truly terrifying. Holy Maiden Qianxue, the battle back then was not enough. I still want to bring you back to the Vajra sect and have a good battle with you. Ha ha ha. Vajra laughed madly, seemingly wanting to infuriate Feng Qianxue. Despicable monk. Feng Qianxue's expression was unsightly as she roared out in rage. The Vajra sect cultivated the arts of the Buddhist sect, and could be considered as Buddhist cultivators. However, the people of the Vajra sect had always been extremely domineering in their actions, never caring about benevolence and righteousness. They were basically fake Buddhist cultivators, only cultivating strength and not the heart, nor did they care about benevolence and righteousness. Haha, Saintess Qianxue can't wait any longer. Fa Nu laughed maniacally. At this moment, the great rock suddenly arced through the air in a beautiful arc, landing on the ground. Feng Qianxue and Feng Zhu appeared beside him, feeling somewhat bewildered. Qin Wentian actually stopped. After all, there were 4 powerful immortal kings chasing after him. This was especially so for the Vajra saint child. Fa Nu out of the 3 of them, Qin Wentian and Feng Qianxue were both mid-stage immortal kings. Feng Zhu's initial stage immortal king strength was simply not enough. With such a lineup, there was no way they could contend against their opponents. The 4 experts all had strange looks on their faces. Qin Wentian actually stopped. This was interesting, he was truly courting death. Seems like Holy Maiden Qianxue wishes to dual cultivate with this seat. This seat will naturally grant her wish and fulfill it. Fa Nu halted his steps. Golden runic light radiated from him, transforming into beams of Buddhic light that enveloped his body, transforming into a true Vajra body. Run, why aren't you fleeing anymore? That expert from the Sacred Sun sect who was forced into retreat by Qin Wentian also chased after them. He was accompanied by 2 other experts from the Sacred Sun sect who were stronger than him. Fleeing, Qin Wentian glanced at him. His eyes were filled with disdain, as though he didn't even regard the other party in his eyes. Such a gaze caused the expression of that expert from the Sacred Sun sect to turn ashen, becoming extremely unsightly to behold. This seat wants Feng Qianxue alive. If she's dead, there's no meaning in that. Fenu calmly spoke, his words causing that expert from the Sacred Sun sect to have a cold smile on his face. Since Grandmaster Fenu is so interested, we naturally have to leave Feng Qianxue alive for Grandmaster Fenu. Shameless to the extreme. Feng Qianxue stared at Fenu. Grandmaster Fenu. Let's finish this quickly. There are still many secrets waiting for us in the Eastern Tomb. An expert from the Sacred Sun sect spoke. Qianxue, hold Fenu back for a moment. I'll deal with those 3 from the Sacred Sun sect. Qin Wentian transmitted his voice to Feng Qianxue, his words causing Feng Qianxue's beautiful eyes to freeze. Qin Wentian actually wanted to deal with 3 mid-stage immortal kings from the Sacred Sun sect alone? Although she knew that Qin Wentian's combat prowess was extraordinary, wasn't it a little too arrogant for him to be so confident? However, Feng Qianxue still replied. Although she had no way to defeat Fenu, it was still possible for her to hold him back for a moment. If they were to be defeated here, that could only be considered fate. Holy Maiden Qianxue, this seed is coming. Fenu laughed. He lifted his palm and a moment later, terrifying golden runic light enveloped this entire space. A gigantic palm imprint manifested, shooting towards Qin Wentian and Feng Qianxue. At the same instant, the 3 experts from the Sacred Sun sect spread out, instantly surrounding Qin Wentian and Feng Qianxue, preventing them from escaping again. Terrifying destructive sunlight circulated around their bodies as beams of sunlight pierced out, shooting towards Qin Wentian. Feng Qianxue's silhouette flashed as she retreated to the side. Qin Wentian stepped out in the air and in an instant, a thunderous boom rang out as a supreme might bore down on this area, causing the entire space to turn incomparably heavy. Under this incomparably heavy pressure, Qin Wentian's body moved. His movement technique was extremely fast as he sped towards the immortal king from the Sacred Sun sect who was forced to retreat by him. You don't know the immensity of death. Qin Wentian coldly spoke. His evil eye appeared as his evil eye domain directly bore down on his opponent. He stepped out once more as a terrifying devil sword of destruction pierced through the heavens and earth, wanting to annihilate everything. That expert from the Sacred Sun sect was enveloped by the sun, but even so, he was still injured. His expression instantly changed. Die! Qin Wentian spoke in an extremely cold voice. Devil might gushed forth as he slashed out with the devil's saber in his hand. It was like a devil god descending to the mortal world, slashing down from the sky, penetrating through space. That expert from the Sacred Sun sect wanted to evade, but he was suppressed by his domain. Saber light flashed and with a piercing sound, his body was directly slashed apart, dying instantly, unable to withstand a single strike. Boom! From behind, a terrifying sun palm imprint blasted over. Just as it was about to land on Qin Wentian, a resplendent runic light circulated around Qin Wentian as a great rock manifested. The sun palm imprint shattered it, but it didn't injure Qin Wentian at all. Refine! The expressions of the 2 immortal kings from the Sacred Sun sect drastically changed. In an instant, a terrifying sun domain enveloped Qin Wentian. The sun flames capable of incinerating everything. Terrifying flame dragons shot towards Qin Wentian while scorching sun swords slashed towards Qin Wentian, exuding boundless might. Boom! Qin Wentian's aura skyrocketed as the bloodline barrier appeared, protecting his body. He transformed into a Xuanwu tortoise with runic inscriptions all over its body. The sun flames that could incinerate everything had no way to melt it, and the terrifying sun swords had no way to break through its defense. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed with indifference. He stared at the 2 immortal kings from the Sacred Sun sect and coldly spoke, "Flee? With just the 2 of you? You think too highly of yourselves." As the sound of his voice faded, a demon sword appeared in his hand. Terrifying demonic chi gushed forth as the might of a monarch's descent gushed forth from him. A raging wind gusted by, akin to a great rock soaring through the sky. The protective energy around Qin Wentian directly transformed into a great rock. With a flap of its wings, numerous great rocks soared through the air, rushing towards the two immortal kings from the Sacred Sun sect. Busy. One of the immortal kings' folded hand seals as boundless sunlight coalesced into a sacred sun sword, blocking in front of him. When the great rocks rushed over, they were all destroyed by the sacred sun sword. The other immortal king waved his palms, manifesting a sun disk that devoured all attacks. Qin Wentian appeared before the young man wielding the sacred sun sword. The demon sword slashed out, instantly transforming into a mirage, causing the eyes of the young man to sink into a surreal state, as though he was about to enter a trance. The sword slashed down, directly shattering the sacred sun sword. A gigantic rock flapped its wings, shattering the immortal king's body. The remaining immortal king from the Sacred Sun sect felt his heart trembling when he saw this scene. He hurriedly retreated, wanting to leave. Boom! Qin Wentian stepped out. The might of his divine elephant domain was incomparably tyrannical, suppressing his opponent to the point where it was hard for him to move. The evil eye domain shot over. Qin Wentian's demon sword flew out of his hand, directly piercing through his opponent's head. After that, the sword hummed as it returned to Qin Wentian's hand. Fengzhu was completely stunned by the scene before his eyes. He didn't expect Qin Wentian to be so powerful. In the blink of an eye, he killed 3 mid-stage immortal kings consecutively. In addition, all of them were immortal kings from the Sacred Sun sect. This was simply heaven-defying. How strong was this fellow exactly? Qin Wentian's silhouette flashed as he sped towards another battlefield. Fa Nu and Feng Qianxue also noticed the situation there. Fa Nu's expression changed, and with a thunderous boom, he forced Feng Qianxue back while he himself also retreated, staring at Qin Wentian, who was walking over. Who are you exactly? Fa Nu stared at Qin Wentian as he asked. Ordinary characters wouldn't have such combat prowess. Someone who is about to die, what's the point of asking so many questions? The demon sword broke through the air, transforming into a great rock as it lunged towards his opponent. Fa Nu roared, his Vajra body appeared, exuding an inviolable aura. Boundless runic light circulated around his body, transforming into a resplendent gigantic palm that slammed out, colliding with the demon sword. Fa Nu's countenance drastically changed. The might of a single sword strike was so tyrannical. Qin Wentian soared into the air, suppressing everything. Countless palm imprints manifested in the air. Qin Wentian stretched out his palm as the palm imprints converged into a towering palm imprint. He abruptly pressed out, manifesting a supreme god's hand that slammed into Fa Nu's Vajra palm imprint. With a thunderous boom, Fa Nu's Vajra body shattered. Qin Wentian pressed down with his finger as the demon sword slashed down, piercing into Fa Nu's Vajra body. Fa Nu roared in rage as boundless runes blocked the demon sword from entering his body. Die! Qin Wentian stomped down, only to see the Vajra taking out a string of Buddha beads, waving them towards Qin Wentian. Momentarily, the Buddha beads transformed into countless golden palm imprints that smashed towards Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian punched out, suppressing the Buddha beads. Every step he took was akin to trampling on Fa Nu's body. Finally, Fa Nu groaned in agony as he coughed out blood. Die! Qin Wentian spoke again. The demon sword howled in rage, directly penetrating through Fa Nu's body, killing him.